Everywhere you look, the rich history of the United Kingdom is there to be seen. But hidden beneath our feet, there's still a wealth of archaeological treasure just waiting to be found. That's why each year, all across the country, our archaeologists dig, dive, and explore their way down.
Oh my God! Some of the best stuff you're ever going to see. Oh wow.
Look at this. We got an arrowhead.
Searching for fresh discoveries.
Hypercaust.
Revealing the imprint of ancient civilizations.
It's been there for 5,500 years.
And unearthing fascinating objects.
Fantastic decoration. Any musket balls yet, Aaron?
Wow, look at that.
Every dig adds new pieces to the ever-growing archaeological jigsaw that is the epic story of our islands.
And I'm down.
This year, I visit digs in some extraordinary locations and solve mysteries using cutting-edge tools.
Oh, this is wonderful.
I'm joined by a trio of expert investigators.
So you can see how that gives you a really unique signature.
That's right. Excellent. So they were using food as a type of bribery.
Who dig deeper to answer the questions raised by the finds.
That's how he got away with it.
Exactly.
Finally, the archaeologists bring their best discoveries into our tent
Yeah, it's a cracking find.
for up-close analysis.
So it's completely unique in Britain. That's wonderful.
Welcome to Digging for Britain. This time we take a look at the most exciting archaeology being uncovered in the west of the UK. In Herefordshire, we unearth the secrets beneath one of Britain's most mystical monuments.
It's extraordinary because what we can see on the surface literally is just the tip of the iceberg.
The mystery of a long-lost friary in Haverfordwest is finally solved.
We think it's a priest burial, and it is rare. I've never seen it before.
Oh my God. Some of the best stuff you're ever going to see.
What?
Oh my God.
And in Cheshire, I dig deep,
Oh, this is getting a bit narrow.
going down a mine that's been untouched for centuries.
Is that an old collapse? It's
An
not a
old
recent
collapse.
collapse. No, good.
Very
Yes.
old collapse.
Travel west from Middle England and mid-Wales rises up as the Black Mountains. The rains that fall here become streams and then rivers, and eventually they flow along the floodplains of the Golden Valley back into England. Our first dig is on that border between England and Wales, near a village called Dalston in Herefordshire.
The crown jewel of this ancient landscape is up here on the crest of the hill. It is Arthur's stone. And it has nothing to do with that entirely mythical king, of course. Instead, it's a Neolithic monument that's been here for thousands of years.
Around 6,000 years ago, Britain's hunter-gatherers were replaced by farmers. The Neolithic was the final phase of the Stone Age. Arthur's stone is a chambered tomb called a dolmen, and its construction is thought to predate Stonehenge. So no surprise then, it's also a scheduled ancient monument protected by law. No in-depth archaeology has ever happened here, and so these great stones, their purpose, and how they connect to the land that surrounds them is a mystery. But this year, Manchester University's Julian Thomas got permission to undertake a major investigation.
Julian, you're here because there are unanswered questions.
Yeah, this site, considering its position so beautifully, we understand very little about it. So we're trying to tease out the history of this site and trying to work out its sequence of construction.
You want to know the real story, but actually there are a lot of myths associated with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's the idea that King Arthur slew a giant here, the giant fell back and broke the capstone, or perhaps he knelt in prayer on top of the capstone. And then more recently, C.S. Lewis took the idea of the stone table on which Aslan is slain from this as well as an inspiration. So it's as if this place seems to attract activity and attract stories.
We've got these stones. What was this? Is this a chamber that was covered up under a mound?
Well, I think what is important there is the capstone as something that's visible, because it's evidence of a feat of mobilising people and mobilising labour, which then almost levitates here as something which is just going to be remarkable to people in the Neolithic.
And is this a capstone that is broken, or is it two stones?
It is a capstone that's broken, and it's entirely possible that it broke during construction.
The two halves of the capstone are supported by upright stones to create a chamber, and there's an entrance corridor at each end. But Julian is not digging amongst these stones, but in the ground around them.
You are actually digging into the mound to see how that was
We're
constructed.
digging into the mound because rather than just a pile of stones, it seems that it's actually been put together in a very careful, very skillful way.
So can we go and have a look in the trenches?
Yeah, let's go this way.
This is unprecedented. It's an incredible opportunity. Julian's team has been allowed to actually excavate in several specific sections of the mound, revealing intricate Neolithic stonework.
There's
Look at this.
something rather interesting. Look at that. So this is just rubble that's fallen down over the top of it, is it?
Yeah, but underneath it is this surface of dry stone walling, which has been there for 5,500 years.
That is gorgeous. Did you expect it to be there?
Well, we hoped there might be something like this, but this is far better than we possibly imagined.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
That's just lovely. And it's got a bit of a curve to it.
Yeah, just defining a quite small forecourt area here.
So this wall is forming a kind of bulbous horseshoe shape.
Yeah, it's going right the way round the mound.
Julian isn't just here to get to the bottom of exactly when and how the mound was built. Experience tells him larger Neolithic features might surround this monument. So his team have opened 2 wide trenches. And now something quite extraordinary is appearing.
And here we've got this avenue of posts coming down and
That's
disappearing.
fantastic. A wonderful line.
Yeah.
A huge post holes. So these would have held really substantial timbers.
Yeah, telegraph poles.
Yeah.
So we've got a line of at least 15 coming down in this direction, and we've got the other side of the avenue coming through in that trench now.
It's extraordinary because it means that what we can see on the surface today, you know, literally is just the tip of the iceberg.
It really is, and we only dug here in the first place because we thought there might be pits or post holes.
The discovery of this impressive ceremonial entranceway suggests there's far more yet to uncover on this site. Normally, scanning and survey techniques on the ground can reveal the best places to dig. But this clay-rich soil is almost impossible to scan through, so the team is using a new technique to see what lies beneath. Adam Stanford is pioneering archaeological surveying using specialised drones.
So Adam, you and Scott are here doing this aerial survey. What does that entail?
First of all, we're doing photogrammetry.
Yeah.
So that means that we're taking lots and lots of photographs that overlap.
I've
Yeah.
seen it a lot of trenches on the ground, but you can actually take it up high and do it.
Absolutely. We can survey hundreds of hectares of landscape like that.
Yeah.
Here, we're doing around about 40 hectares around Arthur's Stone.
Archaeologists down in the trenches use handheld cameras, but the drone uses GPS to move between hundreds of precise positions, each time snapping a high-resolution image. Then the magic happens as specialist software is used to stitch these pictures together into a 3D model. The result is an extraordinarily detailed and accurate record of one of Britain's most famous ancient monuments.
So what else are you doing apart from photogrammetry?
So Scott's just taken off with another drone which has got a thermal camera on it. So we're looking at the difference in temperature of the ground.
Right.
And so let's say, for example, we've got rocks just below the grass.
Yeah.
That's going to get hot during the day and it's going to retain the heat for longer than the surrounding soils. But then we can see that there are gaps where the geology should continue and then it doesn't. Is that because it's quarrying for the site here?
So you're seeing features that you don't see on the surface
Absolutely.
walking around.
Then the other technique that we're using is multispectral imaging. So this is looking at the different bands of light that come down and bounce off the ground that we can't see with the human eye.
So what does that tell you?
For a site like this, we're looking at the difference in the amount of chlorophyll in those plants. And the health of the plants, indicated by the chlorophyll, will then tell us if there's anything underneath the ground which is affecting the health of the plants.
So this is seeing crop marks that you can't actually see with the naked eye?
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing tools for the archaeologists to be able to draw on, not just to record the site, but to plan whatever they're going to do in the future as well.
Adam's survey results are adding to an already huge haul of completely new information that the team are collecting here. It all means that Julian is starting to unpick the real history behind Arthur's stone.
How many phases are you finding then? What's the sequence of events here?
The sequence seems to be we've got our turf mound, which is then cut by this series of post holes. Then we must have the big stone mound, and somewhere in that whole sequence we've got to add the dolmen chamber as well.
Yeah.
So there's 5 or 6 different phases in this whole monumental complex, and all of that is probably taking 200 or 300 years.
I can imagine it's quite a nerve-wracking thing to open it up like this to see what's going on.
Yeah, what is really scary is wherever we've opened up a hole here, we found something completely unexpected.
What they're finding here is really exciting because we've got this dolmen, but there's an earlier phase which involved an earthen mound, and probably around the same time we've got a series of massive posts set in the ground in those huge post holes, forming a sort of processionary way up to this mound. And who knows, they might have had banners fluttering from them. And then it seems we have the construction of this megalithic dolmen, and then this becomes a tomb. It's a chambered tomb, so there would have been bodies, bits of bodies placed in there. And these were communal tombs. And there's another monument which goes right over the top of both of these structures. So the earthen mound disappears underneath it, and it has this kind of strange two-pronged entranceway at the front there. And that is encircled by that beautiful dry stone wall going around the outside. So in a very sketchy way, that's what Julian and the team have discovered here at Dalston this summer.
Our ancestors built their megalithic monument on top of this scenic hill, a place to see and be seen. But the seductive landscape of the West is not just about looks. What lies beneath, hidden in the rocks, has been a magnet for industrious Britons for centuries. For our next site, we travelled to Cheshire and an elevated ridge full of fascinating geology known as Alderley Edge. The rocks here date back more than 200 million years. But this story is set much more recently, at the dawn of Britain's industrial boom.
Alderley Edge is a magical place. It's wreathed in myth and legend, and it's absolutely steeped in archaeology. We know that Bronze Age miners were here 4,000 years ago digging for copper ore. We know the Romans were here digging for lead ore. But the archaeology I've come to see is much more recent. It dates from 2 centuries ago, but it has only just come to light.
In 2021, strange depressions appeared in the ground, so local cavers investigated and discovered a deep vertical shaft. This led to a completely unknown early 19th century mine network.
That's where you come out of the shaft, and you come into this chamber. It goes on that way, and then that way.
They filmed their very first exploration.
Oh my God! It's a tiny little chamber,
Yeah.
but some of the best stuff you're ever going to see.
What?
Oh my God!
A survey company was called in to map the full 200 metres of the mine, creating this 3D image of the labyrinth that lies underground. Since then, an access hatch and a winch have been installed. And today I'm joining Derbyshire Caving Club for some further fact-finding.
No, that's still really...
But first, team leader Ed Coughlin, who helped discover the mine, has some finds to show me.
There's a clay pipe, so they were smoking down there.
These wonderful personal items and tools are datable to around 200 years ago, when this mine was abandoned.
Presumably these are what was actually used to mine the ore and extract it.
Yes, it was all hand dug here.
What's this vessel?
So this was a bowl that was found buried in a wall,
Why do you think they might have left a bowl like this down there?
as they were very superstitious miners.
Were they?
They would often sort of say thank you as a keep the mine spirits happy.
Yeah.
They're known as knockers. You'd often hear a knocking noise to signify head this way, you're doing well, sort of thing.
Of course, I absolutely don't believe in such superstitions, but I hope the mine spirits are going to be very, very kind to us today.
I'm sure they will be.
And we're putting their bowl back, so they should be.
As you pull down the lever, you can feed the rope into it.
Lovely.
I'm going to accompany Ed on a sort of reverse archaeological dig, placing some of these objects back where they were found.
Oh, mind your head.
And retracing the footsteps of those early miners who left them behind.
So we're a lean, mean team here at Alderley Edge. We're with Derbyshire Caving Club. And then in terms of our own team, it is just me and the cameraman Colin going down there because it's going to be a tight, tight squeeze. But it's a unique opportunity to see this newly discovered part of the mines.
Our exploration will take us along more than 100 metres of tunnels to the deepest accessible point of the mine shaft.
Rope's free. Remember, the cable will take you.
Right, I'm coming down. Oh, I can see all the pick marks from the people that actually dug out this shaft. And I'm down. I made it. And it's completely pitch black down here. And Ed's gone. He's disappeared. Ed, wait for us.
Now the hard work begins. As we follow in the footsteps of those 19th century miners,
Oh, I can stand up here.
their prized treasure is revealed. Not copper or lead,
Oh, wow.
but something much rarer, cobalt.
That is cobalt, is it?
Yeah.
That black. So this is what they were here for?
Yep.
This is the cobalt ore. And it's beautiful. It's sparkling. It's almost indigo. And they're following these veins of cobalt through the rocks here.
In the early 1800s, this raw material was in great demand as Britain's manufacturing industries boomed. Blue cobalt-based dyes were used to embellish a range of products from glassware to paper and top-of-the-range ceramics. But in 1806, Napoleon blockaded exports from Europe to Britain, cutting the supply of cheap cobalt from the continent. So new British sources were sought out, and in 1808, this rich seam was opened at Alderley Edge and the miners set to work.
That was the shoe that we found.
So do you think that is a 19th century shoe?
Yes, it is of the era.
Yeah.
There are reminders everywhere of the men who spent many hours down here working in the dark.
You can actually see the remnants of the clay that they'd used to hold the candles in place.
Oh, yeah.
You see the soot up there?
So they would have been doing this by candlelight?
Yeah.
At this point, we need to return one of Ed's prized finds to its original place in the mine.
This is the wedge.
So that, a wedge like that would have been just hammered into the wall?
These are the wedge marks.
So that's where a wedge has gone in, and then this whole block has fallen down?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they've been coming into this.
The cobalt was separated, then the remaining sandstone cleared and neatly stacked.
It was an art.
Almost like dry stone walling, yeah.
Whether you want to set it off like in that.
Yeah, we could do.
Here we're joined by surveyors Kira and Josh.
Time for some scanning.
Yeah.
They've been creating the 3D map of the mine, and today they're recording even more details of this intricate space.
We collect the data with the laser scanners, and they collect 1 million points a second.
Right.
So they can pick up spaces in the rocks that you can't actually see with your, human eye.
So it's an amazing way to record it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Their data has created this impressive digital model of the mine. It's a brilliant tool for understanding the layout, but this virtual fly-through makes it look rather too easy.
Oh, this is getting a bit narrow. It's got pretty tight down here. It's going to get a bit wider, isn't it, though, Ed?
Yes, definitely.
Excellent.
The tunnel twists and turns, and then a sudden drop to a dead end.
Have you got any ambitions to clear that out and explore down there?
We'd love to, but we daren't disturb that.
This will be disturbed, and this would all collapse down on top of you.
Yeah. Right, so we're going to go down there and through the hole.
Oh, we're going down there?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
There is a way through, and it is well worth it. In this impossibly narrow pocket,
Oh, my God.
one of the cobalt miners has left his mark.
Oh, that's amazing. Is that done with the soot of a candle?
Yep.
So, on the 20th of August, 1810, there was a miner in here holding a candle up to the ceiling and just let the smoke create this graffiti. Very lovely handwriting. That's brilliant, and I must say, brilliantly spotted, Ed.
50 metres into the mine, and Ed shows me his most stunning find yet. The tool that miners use to haul the ore up from deep shafts.
This is the windlass.
That's amazing.
And this was a mining implement for hauling material from a lower level.
So it's a winch, basically?
Yes. And this is the hook that they were using for hooking the buckets up.
Oh, yeah. So this handle would have been turned?
Yes.
And then you've got this wooden shaft here with the rope coiled around it.
For us, it's quite an important one because it's the first one that's ever been found here.
Is it?
Yeah, to leave it here is an odd thing, but this passageway would have continued through, but at some point it has collapsed.
Is that an old collapse? It's not a recent collapse?
No.
No, good.
Very old collapse. So we have to go up and round it.
OK. Sounds simple, doesn't it?
At last, we reach our final destination.
So this is the end of the road. We can't go any further.
We're now at the deepest accessible part of the cobalt mine. From here on, the shafts are flooded.
Look at this.
But with the wonders of modern technology, there is a way to keep on exploring.
Oh, wow.
I know.
It's so clear.
Kira and Josh have a mini remote-controlled submersible.
Oh, it's in action. This is really exciting. Yeah.
Now it's my chance to try.
So if you want to have a go and see what...
Thank you.
So as I say, left, right, up and down on the left control.
Okay.
And then forwards, backwards.
Via the video feed from the submersible, I can search this underwater labyrinth for remnants of the mine's past.
It's still swimming, isn't it? It's swimming.
Still moving, just very slowly.
Yeah. Oh, I've just crashed the submersible.
You'll find that happens a lot.
Okay.
Once I get the hang of it, I guide our robo-archaeologist into a shaft that no one has set foot in for over 200 years.
Some of the pick marks.
Oh, yeah, the pick marks, yeah, on the walls. Oh, this is wonderful.
The dark blue veins of precious cobalt are clear to see.
Looks like it might be another shaft, a little bit like this.
Oh, I can see the light.
That's the lights of the submersible. Well, that was just fantastic. What a brilliant tool for exploring the mine. And it looks as though this mine continues quite a way. Really exciting to have a go as well. I love that.
Our time below is up. It's been almost as short-lived as the rush for British cobalt. Napoleon's defeat at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815 led to his surrender, and he was sent off into exile. With Europe at peace, cheaper continental cobalt started flowing back across the Channel again. And the Alderley Edge mine was wound down for good. Before leaving, there's one final stop to return the bowl left by miners as an offering to those mystical knockers.
And this is close to where it was actually found.
Yes.
Albeit in some 21st century Tupperware for ultimate protection from the elements.
There we go, so that's our offering to the spirits of the mine at Alderley Edge, and the spirits have treated us well today.
Yeah, a little bit more crawling than you thought, but...
Over Alderley Edge he took his course, where the day is endless night.
As we resurface,
Well met, said the man as he stood in the park.
there's a traditional Alderley Edge miners' serenade.
But the farmer said she's not for sale till I get to Michaelsfield Fair.
Thank you very much. That was amazing. Oh, that really is incredible down there. It feels like you're stepping into another world, and you are. You're going back in time 200 years ago to when the miners were there exploring those cobalt veins, chipping away, probably only making a metre or two of progress each day, but carving out this extraordinary system of tunnels, and they're all still there beneath our feet.
Give me faith and give me love, a fading from the clouds above, the sea below lends strings to bow. If I can't jump, just push and shove.
The ocean that laps at our shores is essential to the identity and history of our islands. Trade, adventure, new ideas have travelled back and forth across the seas that surround us. And it's in the ports around our coasts that some of the most compelling evidence of those connections emerges, although sometimes it's in danger of being swept away before archaeologists have the chance to get their hands on it.
Our next dig is at the site of a last-minute archaeological rescue in Plymouth on the Devon coast. Maritime tradition in Plymouth runs deep and long back through the centuries. It was from here in 1620 that the Mayflower set sail for the New World. In the following decades, this quayside was built and redeveloped, hiding numerous layers of construction. But in early 2022, a near disaster opened up a chance to explore the port's rich seafaring heritage.
Recently, a bulge was seen in the quay wall, and the tarmac was cracking.
The outer stonework had started showing its age. Plymouth University's Martin Reed was an interested onlooker.
So the danger was that the wall would fall into the sea and take not just the wharf with it, but quite possibly the road behind as well.
Urgent repair work began, but in order to save the quay wall, they had to remove unstable layers, revealing evidence of earlier construction.
I got talking to the workmen, and they were showing me the odd small fragment of pottery. And then one day they showed me something that was quite spectacular. This fragment of earthenware, which has this multicoloured slip and bright glaze.
This fragment belonged to a rare 17th century earthenware bowl from Pisa in Italy. So what was this doing in Plymouth? Keen to discover more, Martin enlisted volunteers to help him search. But they could only sift through the rubble from the old quay once it had been scooped away to safety.
And you can see we've got a skip load of fill from behind the quay wall, which the workmen have removed, and it's hell to go through.
Our team have been carrying out, as far as I'm aware, the first example of skip salvaging by archaeologists. So this is a very unusual site in many ways.
Their hard graft has paid off. In amongst the rubbish used as fill by the quay's early builders, the team has found a treasure trove of pottery fragments, suggesting Plymouth had far-reaching trading links.
We've got a range of different pottery here from all parts of the world. That, for example, comes, we think, from Italy.
It's going to be a platter from Florence.
During the 17th century, hundreds of ships would sail from Devon every year, heading for the rich fishing grounds off Newfoundland. They'd then sail on to Europe to sell some of their catch, and then return to England, bringing back not just fish, but also fine European goods. These exotic fragments of pottery from the collapsing quayside have a fascinating history to tell. So Martin has brought some of his best finds to the Digging for Britain tent.
So you've got your team of volunteers and they are finding lovely bits of pottery. But what does the archaeology tell us that we didn't know before?
What it provides is evidence of this trade in a sealed context.
Martin's finds have been traced to two distinct phases of the quay's development, one from the late 1660s and an earlier layer from the 1650s at the time of Oliver Cromwell's short-lived republic, otherwise known as the Commonwealth.
During the Commonwealth period, I can't identify any of the Southern European ceramics, but we are getting stuff from Germany and Holland.
Why?
Probably disruption by the Royalists, I think.
That's just beautiful with that blue glaze on it.
So this is Westerwald from the Rhineland, and they're very characteristic, this cobalt blue and the grey, and these have these animals on.
They're great. So this is just after the Civil War?
Yes,
Yeah.
so in the 1650s. But then after the restoration, from the layers that we think are in the 1660s, then we're suddenly finding all of this material from Spain, France, Italy, Portugal.
This is lovely, this marbled pottery.
This is from Pisa in Italy, and it's just gorgeous. So this would have been an enormous great bowl.
Yeah.
Basically, fishermen were bringing back pottery from Iberia and the Mediterranean. So on some sites in Plymouth, 50% of the ceramics are Mediterranean. It's the highest proportion in England.
Is it?
Much higher than London.
That's remarkable that it's higher than London.
Well, in London, you had access to better wares locally, whereas in Plymouth, you just didn't. You can see who wouldn't want to eat off plates like this.
There's one thing that we haven't spoken about, Martin, and it's this. What is that?
Technically, it's known as a star bead, and it's our star find.
Is it?
It's from either Venice itself or an island in Venice Lagoon called Murano, which still makes glass today.
Glass, yeah.
And these would have been high status. They would have been somebody's expensive necklace who would have been very unhappy to have lost one bead.
What a nice collection to find in a skip. And brilliant that you spotted it, because the landfill of yesterday is the archaeology of today.
Yes, very true.
Over the centuries, Britain's elites stamped their presence on the landscape, creating monumental buildings that still exist as landmarks in our towns and countryside. At no time is this more true than under the Normans, during the medieval period. And our next dig takes us to the far western edge of Norman control, the Pembrokeshire market town of Haverfordwest. Its imposing castle reminds us that Haverfordwest was a key strategic stronghold for the Normans. What's left of its grand, once towering priory nearby shows this was also a key religious centre. The Augustinian monks chose to situate their priory outside the town, though. They would have been somewhat aloof from the ordinary people of medieval Haverfordwest. But there was one religious order that was embedded right in the heart of the community, though physical evidence of their existence has proved incredibly elusive until now. These were the Dominican friars, who, unlike those monks out in the priory, lived in town, providing support for those in need. Records show that their friary, St Saviour's, was founded around 1246 and remained right in the centre of Haverfordwest for hundreds of years. Henry VIII brought all of that activity to a sudden end, and the precinct with church, with stables, with gardens was built over and has disappeared from modern Haverfordwest. But there are still clues. Now, a major town centre project has given archaeologists an amazing chance to solve this mystery underneath what was a local department store. The demolition needed to clear the way for this new development has revealed what appears to be the site of the long-lost friary. And it's in here. Dyfed Archaeological Trust have been excavating here for several months. Only 5 Dominican friaries have been recorded in the whole of Wales, so if this is the elusive St Saviour's, it's a truly significant find. Fran! Hello!
Hello!
Fran Murphy is leading the dig. Well, you've certainly got some archaeology here.
Yes, it's very intriguing archaeology.
Have you found the long-lost priory?
Well, I think we have. We're in the friary grounds, at least. But I'm not sure at the moment we have enough evidence to say that we are inside a building.
There are no old maps to work from, but they found what looks like an external wall, which probably surrounded the entire friary compound.
I mean, this is really exciting because you don't really see much evidence of medieval Haverfordwest at all.
No, I mean, this is the first excavation that's ever taken place in the medieval town of Haverfordwest.
The first ever?
First ever.
With its river trade links, Haverfordwest boomed in the 13th century. And as the town grew, so did people's day-to-day problems. It's thought that around 40 Dominican friars lived here, providing a lifeline to the poor and desperate. But evidence suggests their home was far from humble.
This was one of our earliest finds. It was found during an excavation of a post-medieval drain. A similar example of this tile was found in the Greyfriars in Carmarthen.
Lovely floor tiles.
Beautiful floor tiles.
So they've come out of this trench, but you don't think they're in situ?
No, I think these are what's been thrown away, the fragments of floor tiles that have come from the Friary Church of St Saviour's.
They're lovely.
They really are lovely.
Archaeological detective work links these tiles to other contemporary friaries.
The ones that I have had some advice on are 14th to 15th century in date. This one actually forms a roundel, a 16-tile pattern, which says Deo Gratias.
So they're well-known designs?
Yes.
Yeah.
They must have had a pattern book or something, and they bought them off the peg, if you like.
Like an IKEA
yeah.
friaries.
And we have ridge tiles. These are locally made, probably from the Llanstefan area, not far in Carmarthenshire.
Nice thing to have on your roof, though.
They're very nice. And you can imagine them, can't you, glinting in the sunshine when they're reflecting the glaze on them. The whole building would have been impressive, I think, and all indicative of a high-status monastic building.
Yeah. Where do you think it was, then, if it's not right here?
Well, I don't think the building material that has been dumped has moved very far, so I suggest it's just under that wall there.
Really?
Yes.
You can't dig that?
But no.
There's still a building on it.
There is, unfortunately. But I think what it has shown is we've definitely, I think, now pinpointed that it's here.
Franz found other tantalising clues that a high-status building occupied this site.
Well, these are more delicately carved stone that I think has come from the interior of the church.
Yeah.
As you can see, we have a little angel's head.
That is beautiful. Look at that.
Expert stonemasons would have chiselled and shaped these exquisite carvings.
You can see its little face.
Yeah, I mean, it's damaged at the top there, but you can still see eyes, nose, mouth, and these little fingers here.
Actually, he's holding something.
Yeah.
If this is St Saviour's, they would have taken care of the townsfolk in this life and into the afterlife too. Archaeologists have made their most significant discovery yet, a large cemetery.
We found 17 individuals which have been buried, and a lot of charnel remains as well in the earlier graves.
The remains they uncover are cleaned by volunteers in a pop-up lab next to the site.
What have you found then? Anything particularly piquing your interest? Yeah, this is all human. Yeah.
Here, my expertise in human anatomy comes in handy.
So what part of the body would that be from?
That is from the sacrum, so it's from the very lowest part of the spine. And then what you've got here is a range of finger bones. You've got some metacarpals, so they sit there in the hand. Yeah. It's amazing that it's all laying there underneath the department store.
Yeah.
Did you went there, did you?
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought.
Isn't that bizarre? Yeah.
St Saviour's was at the centre of life in medieval Haverfordwest for centuries. That was until Henry VIII broke away from the Catholic Church in Rome in 1534. And then came the dissolution of the monasteries, when religious property across the land was seized by the Crown. On September the 2nd, 1538, St Saviour's suffered this fate.
This material hasn't been moved and it's just sat here for these hundreds of years. To have the opportunity to excavate these deeply stratified deposits in the medieval Haverfordwest is the first. And it's a privilege to do it.
Yeah.
It's amazing what we've uncovered and still have a few months to go.
It turns out Fran's words were full of wisdom, as sure enough, 3 months after I left the site, the team find further evidence that this was St Saviour's. They uncover more burials, a lot more.
We have been in the process of excavating, well, nearly 280 skeletons so far. If I'd known initially that it was going to be this many, I probably would have panicked. But as it was, we just had to cope.
This was clearly a very large cemetery, the final resting place for the whole community of Haverfordwest, old and young.
So we've got 2 child burials here. So this one maybe about 2 or 3 year old, and I would say that this one's about under 10.
The team have uncovered burials from the 13th right up to the 17th century, beyond the life of the friary.
Each one of them carries unique information about their life. Some of the people in their lifetime probably were suffering from syphilis because we can see the effects on the bones. And rheumatism, spina bifida, that information we can't get from any other type of find.
In the earlier layers from around the 14th century, the team believe they've found evidence of the friars themselves.
We're at the western end of the site, and we excavated a number of stacked graves, very neatly aligned east-west. They were all adults, and their feet came right up against the wall. It does suggest that they could be friars.
Could this be the evidence Fran's been seeking of an actual friary building?
It would suggest that there is a building that is to the west of this wall, but we have very little evidence for floors, and that is confusing us, I think. They just seem to have been taken away completely.
At the other end of the site, though, it seems they have found the religious heart of the friary, the church.
What we are revealing are stone-lined crypts that have contained coffins, which we are sure have been below a building that stood above them.
One medieval burial from the earliest years of St Saviour's confirms Fran's conclusions.
It was interred in a coffin, and it was then put in a stone-lined tomb.
Found with the male skeleton in this high-status tomb were a pewter chalice and a plate, otherwise known as a paten, the objects used for offering bread and wine during a mass.
Only priests can celebrate mass, so we think it's a priest's burial, and it is rare, and I've never seen it before.
And where he's buried adds weight to Fran's theory that they've found the original friary church.
It wouldn't be uncommon for a priest to be buried at the eastern end of the church, nearest the altar. It's difficult to say because we've lost all the above ground, and all we're getting is what survived below ground. But we hope by the end of it we'll have a much clearer idea.
Further work will help Fran finally plot the exact positions of the friary and its church. But what's clear is that this Haverfordwest dig has led to one of the most important medieval discoveries in all of West Wales.
A prehistoric house, you're probably thinking of a round house built of timber with a thatch or a turf roof. And these types of houses were fairly ubiquitous in the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. and leave the faintest of archaeological traces. But if we go back even earlier, into the tail end of the Stone Age, the Neolithic, in some places we see very different forms, larger, more substantial, and even startlingly modern.
For our next dig, we head to Northern Ireland and the outskirts of Londonderry. Centuries before Stonehenge was built, as farming culture swept across the British Isles, in places it came with a radical new style of building. In 2021, archaeologists were digging on Cluny Road in Derry before developers moved in to build new homes. But it turned out that people had lived here before, thousands of years ago. The archaeologists uncovered rare evidence of 2 Neolithic dwellings. The archaeology is incredibly well preserved. The outline of the houses is clear to see, and they're distinctly rectangular and surprisingly spacious.
It's our excavation here at the Cluny Road in Derry.
Katie McMonagle from Northern Archaeological Consultancy shows us around her Neolithic des res.
So this is one of our very impressive Neolithic houses. These date from roughly 3800 BC till about 3500 BC. And as you can see here, very impressive walls here, slots that would have been used as a foundation and probably would have been filled with oak planks that would have been supported by the outside post holes here, which are massive. So these would have been really substantial structures, probably supporting a massive roof that would have been peaked at the top and come right down.
With a footprint of over 100 square metres, the larger house would have dwarfed the average home of today.
That's very big for a Neolithic house. So you're probably talking about 20 to 25 people, an extended family group of people living in this lovely flat landscape where it would have been beautifully wooded, which is where they probably got their oak posts from to build their house.
And for Stone Age times, it seems rather modern living. The teams found evidence of internal walls used to subdivide the house.
This is where we think the house was separated into 2. There's not as much digging in here, pits and things, so it shows maybe that this is more where they were actually living. So it shows a more homely life here and a more working life here.
The teams found evidence of Neolithic food preparation, a quernstone.
As you can see, it's quite smooth on the surface. This is where they would have been grinding down. And then this is our grinding stone. So basically like this sort of motion for grinding down grain, which is obviously going to be very commonly associated with a home, you know, if you're making food and stuff like that.
The discovery of burnt surfaces suggests several hearths, and evidence of more prehistoric modcons keeps on coming.
These are what we think are stake holes. Probably show that they're used for hanging things on, food and things like that off the ground, or possibly to help cook certain things as well. You can imagine people actually sitting in here, eating their dinner, all those kind of things.
In the last few months, the team have found nearly 1,000 fragments of Neolithic pottery in this home alone.
Oh yeah, lovely. That's great.
We have some Neolithic ware. It's a bit dirty, but sure it'll shine up nicely.
Just found some lovely pottery coming up just in the side of our wall slot.
We've got a fair bit of pottery coming out of this bit.
Oh, nice.
Some decent sized pieces and some bits with the rim still on it.
Neolithic houses are found throughout Ireland, but our house here on the Cluny Road in Derry, it's huge, and as well coupled with the house at the back, it also shows that these people have been living here for such a long period of time.
Cluny Road is a remarkable site, giving us a privileged insight into the Neolithic settlers of Derry. But there's more to learn from the finds, so Katie has come along to the digging tent.
Now, Katie,
Katie, thank you so much for bringing these finds in, and my eyes immediately grabbed by that aerial photograph of your site.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to ask, well, where's the archaeology then? But it's it's so
obvious.
extraordinary. And then what about the finds? You brought in a selection
here.
There's been,
so out of the bigger house here, this is some Neolithic carinated bowl, and these are most likely used for food vessels.
Right, okay.
This would be a carination. We've got sort of like a wee lip that comes out. So these vessels all would have been bowls. So carrying water, cooking, all those kind of things. So it leads to the conclusion that it is definitely domestic setting. People are living here, eating here, working here.
I mean, it's well made. It's quite thin, isn't it?
Yeah. Like these people are very skilled.
Very regular. And this is not wheel thrown, is it?
This would have been more likely they would have made sort of like sausages of clay and then coiled it and then formed it like with thumbs and things like that.
That one's got a hole in it.
This is probably one of the nicer finds that we had. So we think maybe that this is for using to hang it. So whether it be over the fire, something like that, or even carry it if it's for water.
That is
lovely. That is
lovely.
really nice, really nice.
Now, what about these lovely flutes?
Yeah, these are amazing. Yeah, so this came out of the wall slot. So this is a plano-convex knife.
So it's flat on one side,
yes,
and convex on the other.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very, very well napped. All this here is beautiful. Like, these people are very highly skilled. Like, it's crazy. And for these kind of things, on the rest of the British Isles, these are actually found in the Bronze Age.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in Ireland, they become a lot earlier. So they are found in early Neolithic contexts.
Katie, what's this little one?
So that is early Neolithic hollow scraper. So this is quite unique to Ireland, actually. So as you can see in here, you've got serrated edge.
Really finely serrated.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we think possibly these were used for stripping bark.
Yes, it's got to be for stripping something which is cylindrical in profile.
Yes.
And then you're moving that along and stripping it.
We found that from the first building. So whether or not they were stripping bark to be used in the house themselves, it's hard to know.
It's really lovely. Mysteriously, this style of large rectangular houses with stone foundations is unique to Ireland and Scotland, but the trend doesn't last long.
So for dating, you're talking about sort of 3,800 BC to 3,600 BC. And a lot of work was done based on hazelnut shells, which actually narrowed the time frame to about 90 years of use.
Right, okay.
So they are very short-lived.
Yeah.
Whether they just change their minds and decide to go back to roundhouses, who knows? But they're a very short-lived phenomenon, and I think that in itself is just amazing. To only have it for 90 years is just crazy.
I wonder why they stopped making them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a very strange thing, and I don't know, like in my mind that's nicer than a roundhouse.
And you've got that delicious mystery as well.
Yes, obviously, yes, of why they change. And I think that is a big question that needs to be answered. Why does it change? And why is it so short-lived?
While archaeologists try to crack this mystery, we can only marvel at these grand, imposing testaments to Neolithic ingenuity. Everywhere you look, the rich history of the United Kingdom is there to be seen. But hidden beneath our feet, there's still a wealth of archaeological treasure just waiting to be found. That's why each year, all across the country, our archaeologists dig, dive, and explore their way down.
Oh my God! Some of the best stuff you're ever going to see.
Oh, wow.
Look at this. We got an arrowhead.
Searching for fresh discoveries.
Hypercoast!
Revealing the imprint of ancient civilizations.
It's been there for 5,500 years.
And unearthing fascinating objects.
Fantastic decoration. Any musket balls yet, Aaron?
Wow, look at that. Every dig adds new pieces to the ever-growing archaeological jigsaw that is the epic story of our islands. And I'm down. This year I visit digs in some extraordinary locations and solve mysteries using cutting-edge tools. Oh, this is wonderful. I'm joined by a trio of expert investigators.
So you can see how that gives you a really unique signature.
That's right. Excellent.
So they were using food as a type of bribery.
Who dig deeper to answer the questions raised by the finds.
That's how he got away with it.
Exactly.
Finally, the archaeologists bring their best discoveries into our tent.
Yeah, it's a cracking find.
For up-close analysis.
So it's completely unique impression. That's wonderful.
Welcome to Digging for Britain. This time, with so many brilliant digs to explore, we're headed back to the south of Britain. In Wiltshire, we dig down into a mysterious chamber that may hold ancient secrets. It's weird. What is it?
I mean, that's the big question.
Off the Sussex coast, we hunt down the identity of a sunken ship that sparked a war with the Dutch.
We've got cannons. We've got big cannons.
And in Cornwall, a huge, newly discovered army camp redraws the map of the Roman invasion.
What they've done is really quite impressive to go, we're Rome, this is it.
But our first dig leads us to a fascinating period of British history known as the Anarchy. Following the conquest of 1066, many of England's new Norman rulers built castles for protection from their new subjects and each other. Some of these structures remain impressive today, but if you look hard, you can also find the smaller homes that they lived in when travelling or hunting. Our investigation is taking place in what was once a medieval hunting park in South Gloucestershire, near a small village called Lower Hazel. Here, hidden in the woods, are the ruins of some very old buildings. I've heard that they could provide rare evidence of a skirmish or siege during a medieval civil war. The site's owner, John, got the dig up and running when he had a hunch that something special lay here beneath his trees. So, John, how did this all start? You bought this woodland. How did you imagine that there might be some archaeology here?
Well, it all started with looking at an old map which said site of chapel. But this, obviously, it was far too big to be a chapel.
In 2011, John invited a local archaeology group along, who've slowly but surely uncovered the ruins we see today.
If it's a dry Wednesday, you'll probably find us here.
This year, the volunteers are joined by a team from the University of Bristol. And the project's led by our very own Digging for Britain medieval expert, Stuart Pryor. Stuart, it's great to be visiting you to talk about one of your sites, because I know this is a site that you've been absolutely itching to come and dig. Why is it so fascinating? What's the big mystery that you want to get to the bottom of?
So this is one of the sites where it goes right through what's known as the Anarchy period. So it's a 12th century site.
The Anarchy was a long, chaotic civil war that followed the death of King Henry I in 1135. His daughter Matilda was in line to succeed him as queen, but her cousin Stephen had other ideas.
Empress Matilda and King Stephen are fighting over the English throne. And we know that in this period, there's 19 years of hell, literally, because you've got a continual battle going backwards and forwards across this country. And this is a perfect site for, one of those attacks from King Stephen's men.
So prove it to me. Prove to me that we're looking at a site that was something that could have been important during this Anarchy period.
Well, to start with, we'll go with the coins, right? So you've got Henry I,
yeah.
OK? We've got a King Stephen coin, OK? And Henry II at the end there, halfpenny. So that's pre-Anarchy, post-Anarchy, and Stephen himself.
Right in the middle of the
Right
Anarchy.
in the middle, absolutely, yeah. So
Great.
We've got Norman spur, prick spur, so just to prick the source of the side to make them go faster.
So there are definitely Normans here with horses.
Yep. Then you've got things like the butt of the spear. Yeah, so basically, no, it could be used for hunting, but it can also be used for warfare.
The top and the bottom.
Top and the bottom of the spear, yeah. And then we've got some arrowheads.
Yeah.
So this is a fairly early one, about 11th century, and then, you know, this goes into the sort of 13th century.
So you've got objects which are suggesting to you that this was a
high
hunting
status,
lodge.
it's a high status Norman hunting lodge, essentially, yeah.
Enough evidence has been gathered at the dig to recreate in a model how this lodge might have looked in the early 12th century, just before the anarchy. But the big question is, what happened to the lodge? Did it fall into ruin through neglect? Was it demolished? Or was it attacked? Stuart and his colleague Costas have found evidence that might help provide an answer.
This looks like a wall which has, you know, I mean, it's a horizontal wall, isn't it? It's a wall that's stood up and then it's just fallen down like that. I can see the courses in it. I don't know if this is a question you can even answer. Does this look like a building which has gradually fallen down, or do you think this is more of an abrupt event?
Because the courses are still in place, it looks like an abrupt event. So for us, it's another evidence that this building has been brutally disrupted during the anarchy period.
Brilliant. So you've got some in situ from the exact period you're interested in.
While this collapsed wall hints at intentional demolition, it doesn't tell us how or why this happened. Was the building simply abandoned and falling into ruin, or was it destroyed during a siege?
Do you think that it was attacked during the anarchy?
Yes, I do, and I'll tell you why. Because over the last few years, the volunteers have found two pieces of evidence that really convince me. They are these two impressive stone balls that I've got in my hand here. I'm convinced that these are trebuchet balls that were launched through the roof of the structure in the 12th century in that attack.
And whereabouts on the site were these found?
Actually, in the Norman Hunting Lodge itself.
Over there?
Over there,
yeah.
And basically, they were lobbed through the roof and sat there since the 12th century, waiting to be discovered by our archaeologists. They've even got impact damage on them, and they've actually hit the building.
So you're convinced that those are weapons?
Well, either that or a fancy paperweight from the 11th century or 12th century.
After this period of destruction, the archaeologists can see that rebuilding was happening. People were still here. One of the students has some dateable evidence.
We've actually found, in this area, we found some pottery. It's ham green, with a ham green glaze. So this is from about 1250, maybe onwards from there.
Other sherds of ham green pottery found here have been expertly reassembled to show what a splendid jug this must have been.
And we found other pottery that dates to around the 11th century below that, so
it's all kind of matching up with that kind of idea of 11th, 12th century dates then?
Right,
yeah.
Right around the dates we're looking for.
Yeah, right around the anarchy if it's 12th century.
No pottery later than the 13th century has been found, which tells us there was probably no further occupation here. And so this ruin became a time capsule of those two medieval centuries.
This is such an intriguing site. It is totally one of those sites that you arrive at and it all looks very clear. It all looks as though it's nicely laid out, on the surface, very obvious, and then I started to talk to Stuart and Costas and look more carefully, and it's much more complicated. But there's still so much more to learn here, and I think the team will be digging here for years to come.
We dig for the gods that leave no bones, with ships sails unconceived, vessel aloft in the sky is known, the famine road and the merchant's quay.
The English Channel has seen a huge amount of action over the centuries. Not only does it divide us from France, our historical sparring partner, but it also formed
a crucial trade and access route for dozens of northern European countries, amongst them what is now the Netherlands. And in fact, for almost half a century, we were fighting the Dutch Navy on a regular basis in these narrow waters. The struggle to control trade routes and overseas colonies was behind 3 17th century naval conflicts that became known as the Anglo-Dutch Wars. Our next dig is located on the seabed of the English Channel, a few miles south of Eastbourne, at the site of an extraordinary shipwreck.
Alex, yes. Terry, yes. Peter, yes. OK, we are all present and correct.
In 2019, a team led by Mark Beattie Edwards of the Nautical Archaeology Society started diving on a recently discovered wreck that is potentially one of the most important ships sunk during battles with the Dutch.
Clear the north bridge following. Over.
First thing we've got to try and work out is what is it? You know, to prove something's importance or significance in our history, we need to put a name on that, and that identity is only going to come out from the evidence that's on the seabed.
The first hint of the wreck emerged from scans of the seabed. The team investigated and soon confirmed suspicions that this was a previously unrecorded and very substantial post-medieval shipwreck. Since then, they've created this 3D model of the wreck. Today, the team hope to record and recover evidence that may finally solve the mystery of the ship's identity.
The site extends about 30 metres long by about 10 metres wide. It's definitely a wooden ship, and we've got cannons. We've got big cannons. I mean, so far we've counted 31 cannons, which is either a very heavily armed merchant ship or it's a warship.
I've got 40 bar.
Depending on the tide, the wreck is around 30 metres deep, so the team must limit dive time or risk the potentially fatal decompression sickness known as the bends.
So 32 metres to the bottom. We'll get them to tell you what their plan is going to be. 40 minutes should be on the surface, 60 minutes should be on the surface. Okay, Dave?
Ready?
The visibility today is exceptional. There's enough light to see and film the wreck. Among the team who discovered the ship is Graham Irwin, though for him, this clear water makes no difference.
I've had no useful sight for roughly 15 years, so I use my hands as my eyes. For the rest of my diving, I do it by guesswork. Feeling the cannon, it is nice to touch a piece of history that you know has been sunk for several hundred years.
Layers of silt and sand have protected the wreck from the wave action that can cause erosion.
Bronze guns are in fabulous condition. You can read at least 2 of them.
One is embossed with a name. This Cornelis was a master gunsmith in Rotterdam. It's a strong hint that this is a Dutch warship. And on a second cannon, as well as a surprised resident, there's another clue. A date stamp.
So we know that gun was made in 1670, so our shipwreck cannot be any earlier than 1670.
Confusingly, this ship was also carrying a heavy cargo of massive stone blocks, too big to be recovered. More portable are pieces of ceramics and smaller stacks of dressed stone. The team are also recovering personal artefacts.
Every find that's made is potentially important, but every now and then you're able to recover objects that were probably owned and used by individuals that we can get a little bit closer to, trying to understand what their life was like on this ship.
Maximum dive time has been reached. The team slowly resurface.
Yeah. Every dive's a good dive when you come back, isn't it? Beautiful.
And get a good look at the objects they've recovered.
Oh, it's bigger than I remember it being in the water. Wow, okay.
The decorative bowl could be part of the ship's first aid kit.
It looks like a medicine kind of set.
Yeah.
Amazing, beautiful.
It's possible we've managed to find the spot where the stores of the surgeon were.
They've also retrieved larger bowls from what they believe was once the galley.
These are nice, Sarah. So these are eating bowls. If you're on board a ship, all your food is going to just wash off the side of your plate. So even a little dip like this means all your food can go in here.
A ship of this size would have had a crew of around 50. And there's been sobering evidence that at least some of them went down with the ship.
We have found small single pieces of human remains. So we have to be aware that this is a last resting place for these sailors and treat them with dignity and treat them with care.
Today's finds and discoveries go back to the labs, where it's hoped that the identity of this mystery ship will become clearer. The results are in. So Mark has dived into the Digging for Britain tent with a shipment of finds and the latest news on this intriguing wreck.
Mark, what an exciting site to have discovered. And we've got some finds here, obviously, but take me through that scan, that photogrammetry.
Yes, this is a virtual tour we can take you on. And the first thing you'll notice right in the middle of the site are these big stone blocks.
Yeah.
And the biggest ones are 3.75 metres.
Oh, they're huge.
So where these now lie on the seabed is probably where they were in the ship. So probably the middle.
You can see that other heavy objects, like the cannon, have moved around.
Yes.
So are we looking at a Dutch warship, then?
It's confusing, isn't it? We've got all this merchant stuff, but as well as the stone, we've got also this pile of stuff.
Tiles?
Yeah, very good. Tiles that are either for a floor or maybe for a wall. These are two that we've recovered, and there are hundreds of them.
And where does it come from?
It comes from Italy. This is what's called Carrara marble.
The famous marble quarry.
Indeed.
All those Renaissance sculptures.
Michelangelo's favourite.
Yeah, but why is this on a warship?
We think that it's likely that what we've got here is a warship that is carrying cargo at the same time, but we've got a few other objects here that will perhaps shed some light and give us some clues as well. This is Italian tin-glazed maiolica, so this is nicely decorated.
It is. I can see a pair of legs here.
A pair of legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a stack of plates, probably about 10 plates, as if they were in a box or a crate.
What about these objects?
The bigger bowl with the little ornate handles, ridges on the side, is a bleeding bowl used by the surgeon, the barber surgeon on board, for bloodletting. So having surgeons' implements, utensils, is probably indicative of military. We've got the military guns, but we've got this commercial cargo. So we're looking for a Dutch warship that was coming back from Italy, loaded up with cargo.
Yeah.
We think we've narrowed it down to one engagement, one battle that took place at sea in 1672, and we think we know the ship itself because only one ship sank. The one ship is the Klein Hollandia, which means Little Holland.
And this is it?
And this is it. This is as drawn by Van der Velde the Elder, so we can actually visualise what it looked like. And we know that over 100 Dutch sailors died when it sank,
and up to 26 English sailors died.
I think this is utterly extraordinary that you've got this wreck and then you've managed to narrow it down to one ship, and it's one ship that you've actually got a picture of as well. But that really is set against the context of it, the conflict which leads to that ship being wrecked, and also the human tragedy that it represents.
The Klein Hollandia was sunk in an encounter between a squadron of English warships and a Dutch convoy. Details of the engagement were relayed by naval officers and an account quickly published in a pamphlet. Our historical investigator, Onyeka Nubia, is taking a close look at the text.
So I'm always rather concerned when you see an account that claims to be a true and perfect account. But I'm interested to see what it says, and I'm interested what it tells us about this moment in history. It has a date in it which says the 13th of March, 1672. Sir Robert Holmes, he's in charge of the English fleet, with a squadron of 5 ships cruising about the Isle of Wight, met with the Dutch Smyrna fleet consisting of about 50 sail. So the key thing here is that these events are happening in peacetime, 2 weeks before the Third Anglo-Dutch War began. And therefore it is a remarkable account. So the author says, shot to make them strike and lower their topsails, upon which refusal our ships shot ball, this is cannonballs, through and through them, upon which they lowered their topsails, but yet refused to strike, upon which the fight began. And in fact, he goes on, the Dutch throwing overboard a great many of their heaviest goods to lighten them, 20 of their merchantmen, and it continues that the Dutch are actually trying to get away from the English. They don't want to fight. They're not at war with England at this moment. It speaks about the 5 ships taken are loaden chiefly with several sorts of rich silks and other Turkish commodities. This was an attempt to gain control not only of the goods on these ships, but the trade that was related to those goods. It says the loss of the Dutch, I think, fleet was very considerable, not only as to the loss of men, but of goods thrown overboard. There was at least 50 bales of silk taken up by our vessels, who went off from this port the next day. And it is thought that they could not lose less than 1,000 men in this engagement. So it's talking about the loss of life as if it was a footnote, that it's something to be written in the margins, and that the more important thing are the bales of silk. This account explains exactly why that shipwreck is so important. And it helps us to understand that it could have been the catalyst that led to war.
Despite stiff competition, few other counties in the south can match Dorset's rolling hills for vivid evidence of our history. But our next dig takes place at a feature that was, until fairly recently, completely hidden in Dorchester, Dorset's county town.
Dorchester is famous for being the birthplace of one of England's finest romantic novelists, Thomas Hardy, and he came back here and created this house, Max Gate. And there's an archaeological dig happening in the gardens.
Hardy could afford to build his dream home thanks to hit novels such as Far From the Madding Crowd and Tess of the D'Urbervilles. But he had little idea the land he'd bought sat right on top of the major archaeology now being uncovered. It's all looked after by the National Trust, and Martin Papworth is leading the dig in the paddock at the back.
Martin,
What are you expecting to find here in the gardens of Maxgate?
Well, I'm hoping to find a whole series of pits forming an arc right around this field and the garden next door.
Why do you think it's here?
Because back in the 1980s, there was a road scheme just over here, and the road went right through a semicircle of this enclosure. And if you joined all the dots up, it should come right through this place here, in this garden.
What is it?
So around Stonehenge there is an earthwork. That bank and ditch is Middle Neolithic. It's the same date as this.
Right.
So
okay.
it's about 3000 BC.
Henges, like Stonehenge, are not actually defined by their upstanding stones, but by the circular earthworks, the banks and ditches that surround them. At Hardy's house, there are no obvious banks. It may not be a henge, but there could be pits and ditches completing what looks like it should be a circular enclosure. I can see the house on that plan and I can see the 50-metre scale. That's enormous.
Yeah, it's 100 metres across there.
So you might find traces of it while I'm here.
Yes, let's hope so.
Yeah. Thomas Hardy would have been delighted, wouldn't he?
Yeah, wouldn't he?
21st century archaeologists were interested in what he'd discovered and were extending the investigation. Hardy was a keen amateur archaeologist and had been keeping a close eye out for anything unusual uncovered while his new house was being built. During groundworks, a huge sarsen stone was discovered, and Hardy had it installed in pride of place. Harriet Still is an expert on how Hardy's passion for archaeology influenced his writing. So Harriet, this was discovered in the garden of the house?
Yes, so this was dug up from the lawn behind us when they were putting in pipework in 1890. And Hardy called it his druid stone, so he set it up on end as a garden feature.
And he is inspired by archaeology in his writing.
Yes, and when they were digging the foundations for the building, they found Romano-British skeletons in little kind of egg-shaped burial pits. And he wrote that up saying about how they were almost like little chicks kind of curled up in their shells.
What an amazing description.
I know.
Hardy's enthusiasm for archaeology drew him to one unmissable but no less mysterious feature right in the centre of Dorchester: Maumbury Rings. Until the start of the 20th century, this enormous circular earthwork was believed to have been first built by the Romans. This is an iconic monument for Dorchester, and of course it features in Thomas Hardy's reimagining of Dorchester and the Mayor of Casterbridge. Casterbridge is Dorchester, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a place where Henchard, who has auctioned his wife 20 years earlier, agrees to meet her here because no one can see them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people like still, is it's got this really kind of intimate, enclosed feel to it. But of course, when Hardy was writing about it, he thought it was an amphitheatre from the Roman period.
Yeah.
And it's only in 1908, when he funds this excavation, that they learn a bit more about the site.
What do they find in that 1908 excavation?
They're just expecting it to confirm that it is a Roman amphitheatre, and that in itself would have been exciting enough. But they say, as usual, revelations have been made of an unexpected kind. There was a moment when the blood of us onlookers ran cold, and we shivered a shiver that was not occasioned by our wet feet and dripping clothes. Up were thrown from one corner prehistoric implements, chipped flints, horns and other remains, and a voice announced that the earthworks were of the Paleolithic or Neolithic age and not Roman at all.
Oh my goodness.
And he has this kind of crisis at that moment of thinking, I've portrayed it as this Roman Colosseum in my big book that has gone out everywhere.
Yeah.
Luckily they found further evidence to support that it was a Roman amphitheatre later.
But it's a henge monument to begin with then, and then it's later reused by the Romans and transformed into an amphitheatre. I think it's a lovely place.
Isn't it wonderful?
Fantastic. Hardy's imagination was fired by Maumbury Rings, but it could be that something almost as impressive was hidden much closer to home, as signs of Martin's hoped-for Neolithic enclosure start to emerge in the paddock. I'm particularly intrigued by this patch of earth here, which I think is not just earth on top, is it? That looks like a feature that's been dug down into the chalk.
It is well spotted, definitely. It's really when you get the dark patches, that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a nice big one. It's looking up, I think.
I might have to grab a mattock and get involved.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Then Martin directs me over to the front of the house, where a very small trench is showing more signs of Neolithic activity. Right outside Hardy's front door. So Martin, what do you think we've got here?
Well, I think we've struck what we were looking for most unexpectedly in such a small trench.
It's only a metre squared.
I know, but you can see in the way the circle has been inscribed around here, there's Max Gate, there's the porch, which is just over there.
And we're just here.
And if we've calculated everything to millimetre perfection, as we hope to, then a trench there should strike it.
So is there any evidence that the chalk has been dug out here on the circular trajectory Martin's mapped out? There's definitely something here, Martin, because this is all the chalk bedrock.
Yes.
And I've just jumped in to help Rob and Carol while I couldn't resist. And this is fill.
The kind of period we're looking for, that's an ideal filling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much coming out, though. There's
No, well, there is a struck flint, which is always a good sign.
Definitely not just a natural flint.
No, it doesn't look like much, does it? But it's got the core, and then you've got a striking platform, so someone walloped like that. So yeah, definitely a struck flint, made by somebody a long time ago.
So it proves that this ditch is circular, that it's not just this side here, it does go all the way round. And it shows that Thomas Hardy built his house on what was potentially a sacred space that went back thousands of years.
Just within the sacred space.
He had no idea though, did he?
No, he didn't, no.
He'd be very happy, wouldn't he, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. By the mid-1st century, the Roman Empire stretched from Syria to Spain and from Egypt to Britain. Everywhere they ruled, they built, and it's their fortifications that often remain most impressive. The Romans loved a wall, and Emperor Hadrian's coast-to-coast creation left the definite impression that they had reached their limits in the north. But what about the far southwest? The Roman signature there is much less visible than it is across the rest of the south. But a recent excavation has revealed hard evidence that Cornwall did not escape the full force of the invasion. Just years after their arrival, almost all of southern Britain had been conquered by the armies of Rome. Until now, the most westerly evidence of the invading Roman legions has been in Devon. But our next dig takes us further west, to the Cornish village of Roach. Here, a team preparing for the construction of a new road could be about to redraw the map of the Roman military advance.
Yeah, I've got a dark splodge there.
Sean Taylor from the Cornwall Archaeological Unit is leading the investigation.
We undertook a geophysical survey of the chosen route, which did throw up a few surprises, including a very large enclosure with rounded corners.
Those curved corners are a clue that this could be a Roman fort or camp.
It was a fairly big surprise. We don't often get the chance to dig anything Roman in Cornwall, so yeah, I was very excited about it.
The dig began in winter 2022.
As you can see, conditions aren't ideal.
But nothing could dampen the excitement of finding formidable defences built by Roman soldiers.
We've started on the Roman ditch. Awesome to look at, nice and military. You can see the ankle breaking nicely at the bottom. Just needs a bit of cleaning up, we're still working in progress.
The ankle breaker is the characteristic feature of a Roman defensive ditch. It's a square-cut slot designed to catch and twist the feet of enemy soldiers or horses.
This is only literally the bottom, foot that's left of it. It could have well been up here, and then you'd have another great bank at the top of it. So what they've done is really quite impressive to go, we're here. We're Rome, this is it.
An army marches on its stomach, and the team are uncovering evidence of the large ovens they use to cook their rations.
As you can see, this one actually shows a strong indication of burning with bright red. So that would obviously be the burning and probably the cooking preparation area.
A few fragments of ceramic have also been found.
I've noticed there's a small piece of cloth. Just going to free it now gently.
But a lack of other signs of habitation suggests the camp was occupied for no more than a couple of weeks, and Sean thinks he knows why.
I believe this camp to be part of the initial invasion force in the early 50s AD under Vespasian, the future emperor.
The dig continues for 5 more months as the team searches for more evidence of the Romans in Roche. Armed with the latest news and some finds from the site, Sean has marched into the digging tent to bring me up to date. Thank you for bringing in all these finds, Sean, but I'm really interested in this because this looks like brand new information.
So yeah, the information just in, hot off the press. The original geophysical survey showed one side of this camp or fort, typical Roman rounded corners. But since then we've extended the survey into these fields over this side, and we've now got a return to the camp over here.
Yeah.
And you can see it's bigger than we originally thought.
So it's huge. Looking at the scale there, the long side of it must be 500 metres.
Just under 500 metres.
So this could have accommodated a lot of people?
A lot of people, yes. Up to 10,000 people, I would say.
So are we looking at something which could have been a legionary camp,
A full legion with all the followers, I think, yeah.
It's exciting because this is the first time that we're seeing evidence of an entire legion moving this far west in Cornwall. Almost no finds came out of the large camp, but Sean has brought a selection from a smaller fortlet that was also discovered at the site.
We've actually got our one piece of amphora.
Presumably the amphora is that's goods coming in
yes.
big storage vessels.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, olive oil, wine, that kind of
Fish
thing.
sauce.
Yeah. And what about that? Is that a quernstone?
So this is part of a rotary quern. Obviously its presence indicates that they were grinding cereals into flour.
Yeah, yeah.
So presumably here for a little longer than they were in the camp.
Yeah. And what's that? Is that another quern?
This is, yes, well I thought it was a quern when I first saw it, but no, it's much more interesting than that. It's a fragment of a mould to create a pewter dish.
Really?
Yes, so originally it would have been circular.
Yeah.
A sheet of pewter would have been laid on it, and it would have been cold hammered into the mould.
So this really takes us to the heart of surely why the Romans are in Cornwall to start with.
Well, obviously a big component of pewter is tin, and I think the location of this fortlet, as with the camp, it's right above the largest source of stream tin in Western Europe.
And presumably the Romans knew that.
Yeah, absolutely. Presumably they're purchasing the tin. Maybe the locals are very happy about that.
I think it's really interesting to see additional evidence of the Romans in Cornwall. There's almost been a myth that's emerged of Cornwall being completely separate and the Romans not really reaching Cornwall at all, but recent years are showing that that's not true at all.
Absolutely. I mean, it just shows that it wasn't exceptional down here.
The grass is long in the valley, my love, and there we'll go to lie. When the hawk is high above the house for us, and he guards all of the blue sky.
The farmland of the south is a patchwork of fields, a pattern that has evolved over time. The low terraces along the rivers of southern Britain have provided fertile flat fields for keeping livestock and growing crops for generations. A huge challenge for any farmer growing cereals is how to store the grain. Now, today, we keep grain hermetically sealed in steel silos. Back in the Iron Age, they had a different solution: underground storage pits. Once those stores were open and emptied, the pits could be reused for different purposes. And that means that they are valuable time capsules for archaeologists, especially when you've got hundreds of them in just one place. Our next dig is at an extraordinary concentration of prehistoric storage pits in the small village of Stanton Harcourt in Oxfordshire. Activity on the site dates back to the Neolithic, but it was in the Iron Age that people really left their mark. In 2021, archaeologists preparing a site for a new housing development here started to uncover deep cylindrical storage pits, one after another after another. Jamie Williams from Thames Valley Archaeological Services is supervising what has become a massive investigation.
Does it have any cut marks on it? These pits, I haven't counted, but we have over 1,000 just in a line, and they're going directly under those houses. So you have about 170 metres of this pit alignment, and it's still going on both sides.
These pits date back to the 1st century BCE, a time when the Thames Valley was being heavily exploited for growing cereal crops like emmer and spelt. But the well-drained sand and gravel also proved ideal for storing the grain, thanks to some prehistoric ingenuity.
So we're in one of the Iron Age grain storage pits that we've excavated. They would have filled it with grain, and then at the top they would have put some turf over to make it airtight. And the grain that touches the sides of the pit starts to germinate. And then after all the air is used up, because it's sealed up with the turf, it turns into an anaerobic environment and it stops the germination process. And then when they take the turf off, they've got all this grain stored at nice below ground temperatures for them to eat.
Grain could be stored like this for several years, but the pits weren't fail-safe. Sometimes an animal would burrow in, letting air enter, causing the grain to go mouldy. When that happened, the pit had to be emptied and sterilised by fire before it could be reused.
I've just had this lovely piece of charcoal come out. You can see when you smudge it, it gives you this lovely black residue, and you can see the grain of the wood when you look closely on charcoal. We often get with these, they're storage pits, so we get a layer of burning and then a layer of seeds underneath. So I'm taking this down, and hopefully we might find some in situ seeds underneath this charcoal layer.
Each pit could be repeatedly used for grain storage, with additional pits being dug when needed. But sometimes these deep holes would be repurposed, including becoming ready-made graves.
Here we had a child burial, which was just in here. The natural kind of came out to the top, and it was like kind of like put onto a shelf, probably like no older than 3 years old. I think we've had about 6 burials so far within these pits.
But graves are proving to be the exception, and most of these pits seem to have had a more domestic function as rubbish bins.
These pits seem to be producing just a whole range of finds. I mean, you've got these lovely bits of pottery. You can see the cross-section of it there where it's been broken. That looks early Iron Age. And you've got animal bones. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these bones had cut marks on them. It's been someone's dinner.
During the next 4 months of the dig, more and more evidence of Iron Age life comes to light. It all means that Jamie has collected an astonishing array of finds to assess and learn from, and he's brought the best of them along to the Digging for Britain tent. Jamie, it's such an incredible site. I mean, it's so busy, isn't it, when you look at that aerial image? But then what you've got going through the middle of it is that great swathe of storage pits.
Over 1,000 storage pits.
Yeah. And you've got this wonderful slice through the Iron Age with all of these different finds.
So you've got some textile shears.
Oh, those are amazing.
That would have joined in and used as almost like scissors. Could be for wool, could be for fabric, we're not too sure.
Yeah. And then what about this? This long piece of iron.
The golf club.
What's that? The golf club.
It's really interesting, this, because we first thought it was like something like a sword. It was poking out the top, and then we thought maybe a currency bar. But if you look at it, our best bet is that it's some sort of a scythe.
So this is quite blunt here and wide.
Yes.
And then this side, yeah, that is...
It's like a blade edge.
That's thin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, having thought it was a sword to begin with, I think it's potentially even more interesting as a scythe, because how often do we see big scythes
Exactly.
like this?
I've never encountered an Iron Age scythe. They're quite rare.
And then what else then? We've got some nice pottery.
Yeah, this is a pot we put back together. This was from one of the storage pits. It's very lovely, actually. So you got base until the rim.
And it's got some holes in it.
It does, it does. It has 4 holes, would always assume there'd be 1 here, and then you have 1 at the bottom as the 5th hole.
Yeah, some kind of drainage, isn't it? But,
Yeah,
you know, what was in it that was then draining away?
Exactly, yeah.
What about these objects here? These are really intriguing. Is that an ammonite?
It is an ammonite. You can hold it if you want. It's actually got a hole jawed out the middle. So
Yeah.
some sort of pendant, maybe.
I love that, because we still pick up ammonites today and make them into jewellery and see them as kind of interesting natural objects.
Mhm.
And you've got the same thing happening in prehistory.
Yes, no, it's lovely,
Yeah.
isn't it? And then there was a pit which cut the top of this one, which ended up having the half a human skull, which I think is particularly interesting.
I think it's potentially been modified. Some of these edges seem quite smoothed. We have to consider the possibility that this could have been deliberately created as an object in this way. I think these pits are so fascinating because, you know, at times, clearly, they're just rubbish pits.
Yeah.
And then at other times, they're not. They're much more.
So it's definitely one of those sites that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life.
Thousands of years before the Iron Age, our ancestors were already transforming the landscape, clearing forests to grow crops, and building monuments of earth and stone. Here on the chalklands of southern England, they built towering earthworks like Silbury Hill and vast stone circles like Stonehenge and Avebury. Our next dig sits amongst these ancient sites in the Wiltshire village of East Kennet. Recently, a brand new discovery was made in this field, in amongst this extraordinary, epic landscape. And the archaeologists have opened trenches up and they are getting ready to lift the lid, as it were, on this mystery. And that's why I'm here, to see it happen. It all began in 2020 when a void suddenly appeared in this wheat field. The landowner called in the professionals, and a few weeks ago, Josh Pollard brought his team from Southampton University to investigate. The students have since cleared the topsoil away to reveal several large stones around this mysterious deep hole, which they're just about to start excavating.
OK, so here we have our pit with the sarsen stones.
It's weird. What is it?
I mean, that's the big question. So what we have is a void that opened up in the ground. We can see there are a number of big sarsen boulders. And we've realised that at least 3 of these, and possibly all 4, were originally set upright.
Oh.
And
this is the base of it, is it?
that's the base, yeah, in the
Oh,
same
yeah.
way that this is the base of that stone,
Yeah.
which would have sat in that pit.
Any idea at this point about the age of it or the function of it?
We've not seen anything like this, so we're going into the unknown a little bit. But we do know from this landscape that there are a number of quite big graves which have been recorded since the 19th century, which are often associated with beaker burials,
Right.
and which have sarsen linings and
Yeah.
sometimes sarsen capstones.
So early Bronze Age.
So early Bronze Age is a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
We've just got to try and find a body in the bottom.
Well, to go down any further, you're going to have to get these out of the way.
We are, yes, yes. They're quite heavy.
I hope it hasn't crushed whatever's underneath it. Scattered over the North Wessex Downs are hundreds of prehistoric monuments, some of them burial sites, from Neolithic long barrows where many people were buried together, to Bronze Age round barrows and stone-lined kist burials. This group of Sarsens could be the remains of a burial chamber, but to find out, we're going to need some mechanical muscle.
Yeah, it's fine. That's okay. Yeah, that's all right. Oh, hang on. No.
In order to understand this structure, we have to move these stones out of the way, and they weigh, if not a ton, hundreds of kilograms. And so at this point, you know, it's not trowels, it's heavy plant that's doing the lifting.
Moments of truth.
Oh my goodness, it looked like that strap was gonna come off then. Brilliant, that's one stone out, we've got two left before we can start to take this pit down, find out what's at the bottom of it. And it could be a burial.
The telehandler has been arranged by James, the owner of the site.
James, this is an extraordinary thing to have turned up on your land. How did you discover it?
I assumed it was a badger set. You know, we have lots of badgers around here, and immediately you could tell that that is no badger set. It was this perfect circular sort of sinkhole. And when you looked into it, you could see the edges of the Sarsen stone, and you sort of felt something. You definitely felt you were looking back in history.
Well, also, I mean, you're in this landscape which is completely peppered with prehistoric remains.
So we're standing actually in the World Heritage Site that was extended in 2006 to encompass the East Kennet Long Barrow. And almost everywhere you look in the landscape, you can see evidence of the people who have been here before.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, there we go.
That's him.
There we go. Whew.
There's a lot of discussion around where to put the straps, and just imagine the people who put these stones in place having a very similar conversation.
Imagine just doing it with your own bare hands.
Yeah, it's a feat of engineering, isn't it?
The team have now had a few hours to excavate down into the void to prepare to lift the remaining Sarsens. But is Josh any the wiser?
To be honest, I'm still quite puzzled by it. So I think at the start of the day, there was still a bit of a sense that, you know, perhaps it could turn into a kist, into a kind of burial monument.
Yeah.
I kind of feel less confident about that now.
Right, okay.
Largely because were it a kist, I think we'd just expect the stones perhaps to be arranged in a box-like format.
Yeah.
Is there any analogy for this, any comparison for this?
There isn't really, no. But I mean, we do know from some very early records that there might be a whole range of different kinds of construction using Sarsen stones that existed in this landscape. Many of which, of course, have disappeared through sort of clearance and cultivation.
So lots of questions still.
Yes, I hope the truth's down there, yes.
Yeah.
I left Josh and his team to remove the remaining Sarsens and hopefully uncover the secrets of this intriguing chamber. Two weeks of challenging archaeology later, and Josh is at the Digging for Britain tent with the latest news.
Josh, how much deeper did you dig and what did you find?
OK, so we dug down another 2 metres. At that stage, we realised that rather than having a nice beaker or early Bronze Age kist or burial chamber, actually what we had was a natural feature, a sinkhole.
So it's geological rather than archaeological?
It's a mixture of geology and archaeology. Although it's a natural feature, it's still a natural feature that people modified by having a ledge dug around the outside of it. And then the big Sarsens that we could see in the top had originally been placed almost like a kind of a Sarsen wall or fence.
A barrier, do you think?
Yes, it's a barrier of some kind, so it could be a barrier just designed to stop children or animals falling in, or it's a barrier presumably created to emphasise the feature.
Oh, so yeah, to create a kind of monument.
Exactly. And we've got a sense of when that happened because we found two quite remarkable finds which had gone in next to the stones when the stones had been placed.
Yeah.
So on one side, we found this very nice little late Roman coin of the Emperor Gratian. So
when was he reigning?
360s, 370s, thereabouts.
That's lovely. I mean, it's so it's not particularly worn, is it?
No,
you can
no.
see the details of his headdress really nicely.
And that was found in one of the sockets of one of the sarcens that had been set upright on one side of the pit.
Oh, so that absolutely tells you that that sarsen stone has gone in.
Yes.
After this date.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. That's right. Yes. Good dating evidence. And then on the other side of the pit, we've got this rather lovely spindle whorl, which has been made out of Kimmeridge shale.
Yeah, that is nice. Beautifully formed, nicely symmetrical. And is that probably Roman as well?
It's going to be Roman.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
So this is quite intriguing because, of course, by the time we get to the Romans, we've got Roman mythology. We know that they looked at openings in the ground, they looked at caves and saw them as openings to the underworld.
Yes.
Even.
They're depositing coins into the chambers of monuments like the West Kennet Long Barrow, which again you could see as being another opening up into an underworld.
Well, I think I've now recovered from my disappointment at this not being a Bronze Age kist, and I'm now intrigued by this being a response in Roman times to that wider, quite mystical landscape.
And that's what makes archaeology such a kind of vibrant and sometimes quite unpredictable subject.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is good archaeology.
Yes, yes.
These islands we call home have a rich and varied history stretching back thousands of years.
But hidden under the ground and underwater are some amazing treasures just waiting to be found.
Wow!
So each year, all across the country, archaeologists dig, dive, and explore their way down.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Searching for fresh discoveries.
And it is completely intact.
Revealing traces of ancient cultures.
This shoe is 2,803 years old.
Oh, wow.
And unearthing fascinating artefacts.
Oh, that's a nice thing. What is it?
I've never seen anything quite like it in my career.
Every dig adds new pieces to the ever-growing archaeological jigsaw.
That's so cool, isn't it?
That is the epic story of our islands. This year, I visit digs in some extraordinary locations.
The ceiling just got a bit lower.
And I call on the help of a trio of expert investigators.
It's quite difficult to find any other evidence of things that just leave a mark in the archaeology.
This is a really powerful document because we're getting to hear the voices that we don't usually hear.
Who delve deeper to answer the questions raised by the finds.
Is all of this already recorded in books?
There was none of this in a book anywhere.
Finally, the archaeologists bring their most amazing discoveries into our tent.
Astonishing.
For up-close analysis.
Genuinely rewriting history. Welcome to Digging for Britain. In this episode, I'll be exploring the best archaeological digs in southern England.
On a building site in Kent, archaeologists discover one of the oldest finds we've ever seen on Digging for Britain.
So what's your ballpark figure at the moment?
Ballpark figure at the moment is probably about 300 to 350,000 years old.
On the White Cliffs of Dover, a top-secret military installation.
It's a constant 12 degrees down here.
Feels colder than that.
Is opened up to archaeologists.
We have done a fingertip search. Technology was still confidential then, so all of the equipment was smashed into small pieces down here.
And for the first time, archaeologists unearth a medieval mud dock building warships for one of England's greatest warrior kings.
We're going through the entrance to the dock.
With finds popping up everywhere.
We've got tens of thousands of these things scattered along the whole foreshore for more than a quarter of a mile.
The south of England, gateway to the continent. It's been a centre of human activity for thousands of years, providing rich pickings for archaeologists. But not all evidence of human life is found in trenches. Sometimes you just need to follow the tides. Our first discovery was made not on an archaeological dig, but on the edge of the Thames estuary in the North Kent marshes. It's a favourite haunt for archaeologist Steve Tomlinson, who's also a mudlarker. He looks for finds lying on the surface of the mud of the estuary. No trowel or spade is needed here, just a keen eye and the ability to pick out finds of real archaeological significance.
Yeah, just have a look on the mud, see if there's finds anything unusual or any potsherds of any kind. Just anything that has basically been washed up by the tide.
It may seem a bit haphazard, but mudlarking has led Steve to make some intriguing discoveries.
I've been mudlarking for roughly about 7 years now. Every day is different. You can get really good days and really quiet days. You just don't know what's going to turn up. No, forget about that one. It's the thrill of going out there to say, what is out there today? What can I get? What can I find? Interesting. Looks like I've got a piece of Roman pottery here. Possibly 2nd century. So we've got a combing design inside, which is quite nice. That's probably going to be a small storage jar. Yeah, just washed in on the tides after nearly 2,000 years. So that's very nice.
Some finds are easy to identify, others can kickstart a detective trail involving colleagues, universities and the British Museum.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow, looks like some piece of dried skin. So I'm going to take that because that could turn out to be something good, which would be lovely.
In September 2022, Steve found a scrap of hide or leather like this, and it's turned out to be something extraordinary.
I saw this flat piece of leather which looked like a shoe sole. So I thought it really interesting, so I picked it up. Just looked really old, and I think that's what really got my excitement going a bit.
6 months later, Steve found something else which proved to be part of a leather bag. Both finds have been sent for radiocarbon dating. And we've also asked archaeological conservator and Digging for Britain regular Dana Goodburn-Brown to carry out a microscopic examination of these artefacts. Steve's come to the tent to see what she's discovered.
Dana, it's lovely to see you again.
Oh.
I'm always excited when you turn up with your microscope.
Thank you.
And this just looks like the most incredible find. And Steve, you found it. Tell me what we've got here and how you found it.
I found both of these mudlarking.
So you're looking along the foreshore?
Looking on the foreshore, and came across this shoe, which is absolutely incredible.
Can
and
I hold
look,
it?
of course
Is
you
that
can.
right?
Yes, of course.
Oh my goodness.
And I suppose being an archaeologist, I kind of had an inkling it was quite good.
Can I turn it over?
Yeah, of course you can. So I sent it off to a carbon dating unit in Scotland.
Right.
And 4 weeks later, they came back with a date of 888 to 781 BC. which is 2,803 years old. It was the oldest shoe ever found within the British Isles.
So this place is at late Bronze Age, early Iron Age?
So it's late Bronze Age, yes, early Iron Age.
So at that point, you found the earliest shoe in Britain?
This shoe also went up to the British Museum.
Yeah.
They got no other record. This is the smallest Bronze Age shoe ever found in the world.
That's amazing. I'm just imagining this little Bronze Age kid running along the banks of the river.
Amazing.
And then they come back and their mum goes, "Where's your other shoe?"
I know.
And it's gone, and that's it. Until Steve finds it. Yeah.
I love it, yeah.
Again, it's opened up history. You know, we make shoes for toddlers and babies, and we never knew that actually existed in history, which is amazing. It is, yes.
Because we're right back in prehistory. There's nothing written down.
And the mums were just the same. They're so cute, those little shoes.
Yeah.
So
it's lovely. Dana, what can you say about this leather then? I see you've got your microscope, so what can you tell by magnifying them?
I mean, the first stop for a conservator is to, record what's there. And one thing about this shoe, it doesn't make sense really quite what it is and how it can be used, and most of it is lost edges, so all around the edge here. So it's either worn away or torn.
Right.
So that means it is a bit of guesswork to figure out exactly what shape it started with.
Yeah.
I took it to X-ray because it looked like it was in 2 layers, and then it does seem to be like 2 layers.
So it's not 2 layers of the original leather, it's actually 2 pieces of leather which have been applied together?
Yeah, it seems to be.
And then, what about this bit?
Yes, well, this can hold this one too.
It's still really supple, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
We think it's half of a bag, and once again, a mudlarking find 60 foot away from the late Bronze Age shoe.
Yeah.
And sent it off, and it came back with a date of 2578, 2466 BC, which is the late Neolithic period.
So it's even older?
So it's even older. It's 1,700 years older than the late Bronze Age shoe. So we now know we've got the oldest piece of leather found in the British Isles and the second.
Found by the same person?
Same by the same person, yes.
That is, honestly, that is incredible. We don't get organic remains being preserved very often. And to have ended up finding these pieces of leather from the Bronze Age and the Neolithic, it's just extraordinary.
Yes.
And do you think this interpretation of that piece of leather as a potential bag, does that make sense looking at it?
Kind of. Again, that's not my specialty, but the British Museum did think it might be part of a bag. But I'm fascinated by this residue on the top. Take a look down my screen here.
Looking at the bag, found in the salty mud of the estuary, Dana is drawn to a small, waxy deposit.
What is that strange bit of brownish
colour? It's so interesting.
And it gets even more intriguing.
I can't wait to show you. This is what really excites me.
Oh.
These are little diatoms, which are little single-celled creatures that live in water.
Yeah.
I think these are freshwater diatoms. This is stuck on the surface of the oily, waxy thing.
Are they likely to have come from the mud?
Well, no, because it was found in the estuary, in the salty area, and they're not in the leather. It's only in this deposit.
Right.
So I'm thinking, why is it on that? Maybe it was carrying fresh water, or while it was still fairly fresh and sticky enough, it was lost somewhere in fresh water.
So somewhere along the line, that bag has picked up these freshwater organisms, and it's ended up in an estuary, so it can't have come from the estuary. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's like archaeology at an absolutely microscopic scale. Yeah. And there are clearly more secrets to come from these pieces of leather. We know how old they are. We know they're Bronze Age and Neolithic, but there's still a lot more to find out about them.
Absolutely.
The scientific detective trail hasn't ended yet. There's clearly more to be revealed. But there's enough here already to work out what the shoe might have looked like. Professional leatherworker Jess Connolly has been trying to reconstruct its shape.
So when I looked at the leather, you could see on the leather where the gaps were, where it looked torn, the bit cut off at the back. And to me, as a leather worker, that indicated that those are where holes were that had been pulled wider or were degrading.
Yeah.
So I used a bit of poetic licence and sort of thought, well, these will be holes all around here.
Yeah.
And so I started to form the varying salts. So we have many different styles of the shoe
Yeah.
and
So
what
it'd
it
be more
potentially could
symmetrical.
be.
Yeah.
I believe they would have used veg-tanned leather, whereby they would have punched the holes in using what's called a piercer. And then what I would do is I actually pin it into place so that you're able to form the essence of the shoe. So we can see now that this is a moccasin.
Yeah.
And then I get a cut scrap off to form the moccasin.
That's really lovely. That's really great to, to get my head around actually what this shoe could have looked like.
I did spend an awful lot of time looking through various books to see the styles that are around in that period, to give me a clue.
But we haven't got much. I
But
mean,
it's
this is the earliest shoe from Britain.
Yeah, the
being this
nearest
early.
thing is in Denmark, the name that I can never pronounce, something Torvig, or with Margaret Held and her
Right.
works. So
you've had a look at some other prehistoric shoes from Scandinavia and come up with these different ideas. I think it's very scientific, because what you've done is, rather than plumping for one,
No.
you've thought, what are the possibilities here?
Absolutely.
With the evidence that we've got, how could this shoe have been formed?
Yeah.
We've got all those, high-tech scientific techniques that we can throw at it.
Yeah.
But also, this kind of practical experimentation is absolutely essential.
It is, it is.
Yeah.
And it's good fun.
Yeah. The discovery of Britain's oldest shoe from the Bronze Age is something quite remarkable. A familiar, everyday object from almost 3,000 years ago. But the prehistory of Britain stretches back much, much further. Archaeology focuses on those physical traces in the landscape left by people who were here long before we were. And it can complement written history, but it can also push back even earlier than anything was written down, back into prehistory, where we find evidence that is thousands of years old, even tens of thousands of years old, and sometimes hundreds of thousands of years old. Our next dig brings us to the Medway Valley in Kent, 2 miles from the centre of Gillingham. This dig was happening before the construction of a new school, the Maritime Academy. The dig was less than 20 miles from Swanscombe, a place famous for the discovery of ancient Stone Age artefacts, but also a 400,000-year-old skull from an archaic species of human. There's always the possibility of finding more evidence of early humans in these ancient layers of silt and gravel.
I think it's worth going down a bit more.
The excavation at the school site dug down into gravels dating to 300,000 years ago, taking us back into the Paleolithic period. Watching over the dig and ready to swoop on anything interesting was a team led by geoarchaeologist Letty Ingrie.
When we excavate a site like this ahead of a construction project, it's not possible to hand dig. It would take years and years. And there were a lot of kids waiting to start school. So most of the digging we actually did by machine. And between each pull of the machine, we had someone on the side of the trench that would sift through all the deposits looking for artefacts. And an archaeologist would also enter the trench between each pull and have a look at the deposits there to see if there are any artefacts. Hang on a sec, I'm just going to have a look.
It requires huge concentration and focus, as Stone Age artefacts are extremely rare. Letty had been working here non-stop for 2 months and had found nothing significant until one day something caught her eye, something that made all the hard work worthwhile.
I saw the tip first, So the long kind of pointed tip, it's something that's unmistakable when you see it. It's so different from the other kind of pebbles and bits of gravel. So obviously human-made.
It was the first glimpse of something very exciting. Ancient stone tools known as hand axes, and some were huge.
I spend a lot of time digging holes, looking for things, and it's very rare to actually find them. It's a big thing. It's what keeps you going.
Rare finds like this give archaeologists insights into ancient technology from hundreds of thousands of years ago. I've asked Letty to bring her finds to the tent so I can get a closer look. But first, I also want to find out more about the site where these remarkable hand axes were found.
So have you got pictures of the site?
I do. So what I've got actually is a photogrammetry model. So this trench here is about 70 metres long.
Oh, it's huge.
And about 4 metres wide.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's quite big.
I mean, it doesn't look like there's much there. I mean, this is the nature of Paleolithic archaeology, isn't it? Is that very often it looks quite empty.
Yeah, a lot of the time you don't find anything. But when you do it, it is amazing.
Letty, these are absolutely incredible. I mean, this one in particular is massive.
So we think this is the 3rd biggest hand axe ever found in Britain.
Really?
So far,
Yeah.
which is quite incredible. They're more like large knives as opposed to axes.
Yeah.
It's very sharp, it's very strong, would have been really good for things like cutting up meat, probably other uses as well.
If I look at this one, it's, I mean, that's a hefty object.
It is.
This type of stone tool is fascinating, isn't it? Because it goes way back into prehistory and, you know, very early types of humans were making stone tools which are actually quite similar to this.
Yeah, think about 1.7, 1.8 million years ago, you get the first kind of hand axes in Africa.
Yeah.
And in Britain, I think about 600,000 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
It's quite extraordinary, isn't it, that you've got a technology which kind of stays the same pretty much for, as you say, 1.7, 1.8 million years.
It really works.
Yeah. I can't stop touching them. They're so tactile, and it's really lovely to see these so fresh out of the ground as well. Thank you so much.
No worries.
The south of England is well known for its megalithic architecture, often built using sarsen stones, huge sandstone boulders. Stonehenge in Wiltshire is a world-famous example. In neighbouring Dorset, there's an equally rich ceremonial landscape. For our next dig, we travel to the windswept Tennant's Hill, near Dorchester, in South Dorset.
This collection of sarsen stones is called the Grey Mare and her colts. It's an odd name, but what we're looking at is a Neolithic tomb. So this is where some of Britain's earliest farmers would have buried their dead, and the surrounding landscape in Dorset is littered with ancient monuments like this.
This megalithic architecture dates back to the end of the Stone Age, the Neolithic period.
Now, some of these monuments are less obvious than others. And today I'm here to look at one which is so well hidden, it's only just been recognised.
A community dig is taking place up on this hill. It's being led by archaeologist Anne Tether. The team have found what they believe to be a Neolithic tomb, but there are no huge stones this time, and only the merest trace of a mound.
Anne.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Now, you promised me a barrow. I can't see a barrow. I can see you've got a trench open here. But, I mean, how did you find it? It looks so subtle.
So we completed some geophysics. And so we know that there is something here.
OK.
We're looking at what we think is a Neolithic oval barrow, which is a type of mortuary monument that was common between about 4,000, 3,500 BC.
And that's this whole kind of shape here?
Absolutely. So we think this central area would have been the mortuary chamber.
OK.
And then we had a flint bank that was coming around the outside, and both an inner ditch and an outer ditch.
OK.
The geophysics provides a rough map, but not much in the way of detail. The team have dug a trench to try to understand how this burial chamber was constructed.
So we just start here. We've got a linear feature coming through, which is...
This edge here?
This edge, yes, which is rectangular. We're just trying to see how far that extends, but this may be part of the inner chamber.
The inner chamber would have formed the core of the burial mound. And Anne's colleague, Jim Rylett, has discovered a series of features which point towards how this was built.
You've got stones poking out around the edge. So that's classic post hole. You dig a sort of big hole, put your post in, and then fill the spaces in around the posts with stones to hold it in place.
And that's another one.
We've got another one there, and another one over there.
Potentially another one?
I think so,
Yeah.
yes.
I want to clean that up. Have you got a spare trowel? And can I? Can I have a... Thank you.
You may. Please help yourself.
Let's just look at this. It looks suspiciously like another post hole, doesn't it? I'm happy at excavating skeletons, but...
So finding these post holes is really helpful because it is beginning to give us an indication of how the barrow was built.
Yeah, and it's got this timber chamber in the centre of it. And then presumably that flint bank's built up against that. And then covered in earth?
And then covered in earth, yes.
As well as piecing together how the barrow was constructed, the team are hoping to accurately date it. And Jim has just uncovered something that could help.
We've got this large deposit of charcoal,
Yeah.
but at the bottom of it is a big chunk of pottery, which is good at one level because we should get a date for it from the charcoal.
Oh,
and be able
amazing.
to compare it
So
with
if the charcoal's overlying it,
Yep.
any date you get on the charcoal, you know, the pottery predates that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Radiocarbon dating can only be carried out on organic material, so finding charcoal is a stroke of luck. But it also gives another clue about how the tomb was used.
The amount of charcoal there is really striking. So it's likely that this was some cooking vessels, somebody's passed away and that they're gathering together to remember them. And then the results of that feast go into the ditch.
As well as this hidden barrow, the team are exploring the wider Neolithic landscape on and around Tennant's Hill, including a circle of sarcens that's just a stone's throw away from the tomb.
This is a lovely stone circle. So what do you think the relationship is between this and your long barrow? I mean, they're very close to each other.
They are very close to each other, and I think that's quite unusual. And these stones are just representing the last bit of sarsen in this landscape. So we do wonder if perhaps they were once the facade to the long barrow.
Oh, right, yeah.
And had perhaps been moved at some later point and made into a stone circle here.
And what about the stones themselves? Are they naturally occurring up here on the hill, or have they come from elsewhere?
They've definitely come from elsewhere. They're not naturally occurring at this size and this volume on this landscape. And there is another location where there are many, many stones, and we think that they've been brought up from there.
And how far away is it?
It's only about 1 kilometre that way.
Yeah.
Should we go and take a look?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'd love to.
Anne thinks these sarsen stones were recycled, taken from the tomb to create this stone circle. But I want to see where they came from originally, down in the valley. And there's some extraordinary archaeology here.
It's wonderful. It is like a river of sarsen stones.
They have all fallen naturally in this space. They would have been on top of the hill. So out of all the stones here, this one's really special.
What makes it special?
So this is a Neolithic polishing stone, a polissoir.
And is that what we're looking at here, this smooth bit?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. How has that happened? Somebody's been polishing something on there.
Yes, so polished stone axes are really characteristic of the early Neolithic.
Yeah, yeah.
And they make hundreds of thousands of them and then polish them to a high lustre and surface.
Yeah. That's incredible. So it's never been seen before, it's never been noted before?
It's never been noted before. And there's only one other find in England that's similar near Avebury.
Really?
Yeah.
So you know that what was happening here, that people were polishing these stone axes and Neolithic people were probably sitting just where we are.
Absolutely.
Doing this. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Some of the earliest traces of communities living in the south lie hidden beneath our rolling hills and fields. Others, though, are locked beneath the many layers of archaeology under our modern, thriving cities. Origin stories just waiting to be discovered.
There are dozens of beautiful historic cathedrals across the UK. Most cities have one, some have two or even more. And the earliest of them go back 1,000 years into the Middle Ages. But we suspect that many of them are built on the site of even earlier churches or other buildings. But of course, it's very rare that archaeologists get a chance to test that out.
But they are getting that opportunity at our next dig, in the grounds of Exeter Cathedral in South Devon. There are plans to build a new cloister gallery here to help tell the story of the cathedral's 12th century origins. Before construction can start, archaeologists are digging down into medieval layers right next to the cathedral. And in fact, the archaeology being uncovered here goes even deeper, right back to the foundation of the city as Isca Domnoniorum in the Roman period. The dig is being led by the cathedral's resident archaeologist, John Allen.
We're standing on a very important archaeological site. The centre of Exeter has buried Roman remains, the earliest of which go back to the 1st century, to the foundation of Exeter as a legionary fortress of the 1st century AD, and parts of the fortress are under our feet. It's a significant find because occasions to get down so deeply into the archaeology of the city arise fairly infrequently. It's years since we've seen this kind of evidence emerge.
The fortress was originally the base for the 2nd Augustan Legion, who arrived as part of the invading Roman army. Project manager Tristan Hughes has uncovered the very point when Roman Exeter began.
What we're looking at here is the geology, which is river terrace gravels. This is prehistoric soil. We know that because overlying it is this thick band of reddish clay. Now, this is important because this was the land surface at the time when, in about 55 AD, that the Roman legionary army arrived. And we know that because this orange clay, this is what they laid down as a levelling and through which they would have constructed their barrack buildings. During the height of the fortress, you would have had approximately 6,000 soldiers here. Now this horizon here between the two deposits is a lovely point in time because this was the layer on which the soldiers would have walked about when they first arrived in Exeter and set up their fortress.
The dig takes us back to the origins of the fortress, but the archaeologists are also uncovering finds that give us a glimpse into the Roman legionaries' lives.
What we have here is fragments from a Roman bowl. This is what's called Samian ware, and it dates from mid-1st century. It's got a nice motif of a bird on this one. And this date is about sort of 40 to 85 AD, so perhaps was brought over with the troops. With this, we've got this lovely glass counter. These would have been like your equivalent to your checkers today, that sort of thing. So this is part of a gaming set. So a nice little group of finds.
We know that the Second Augustan Legion was based here for around 20 years before they moved to South Wales. And the fortress at Exeter evolved into a civilian town. Remarkably, Simon has found an intact corner of a Roman civilian townhouse.
You can see Roman blockwork here. And what's interesting is elsewhere, Roman masonry have been completely robbed out and reused for medieval buildings. But this bit they've left in, which is an absolutely fantastic piece of architecture. This section here, we're looking at a Roman townhouse floor surface. We've got the preparation layer, which is this quite bright red clay, and sat on top of it, this lovely smooth surface here. So we can really picture what the floor would have been like within these buildings that the Roman inhabitants of Exeter would have walked on.
Thanks to this rare opportunity to dig deep under Exeter's cathedral, archaeologists have discovered new, tangible evidence of life in the city during the Roman period. For centuries, the coastline of the south of England was where the bulk of our famous navy was based and built. By the mid-18th century, Britain had evolved into a naval superpower, but the origins of the shipbuilding industry here in the south go back a few hundred years before that. There are plenty of shipyards in the UK where the tradition of shipbuilding goes back for centuries, but redevelopment over the years has obscured earlier phases of their history. But our next site was abandoned, so archaeologists have been able to peel back time and reveal an intact medieval shipyard. The abandoned shipyard is in Smallhythe, in Kent. Somewhat strangely, it's more than 10 miles from the sea. Archaeologists are trying to trace the first physical evidence of the historic shipyard here.
Oh,
Nice.
that's kind of lovely.
Oh, that is lovely. It's really, really nice.
Smallhythe's shipbuilding story goes back to the 15th century, at the end of the medieval period. Henry V reigned for just 9 years, but his military victories against France, including the Battle of Agincourt, made him a celebrated warrior king, immortalised by Shakespeare. There are written accounts telling us that some of Henry V's ships were built here at Small Hythe, but there's been very little physical trace of that industry until now.
Where we once potentially had great big ships here, certainly the lower parts of them, is now just fields.
That's the inside. Again, something that's...
Yeah.
Natalie Cohen from the National Trust is in charge of investigating this 200-acre site.
So this is our site plan. So we wanted to know more detail about how you would construct a ship in a landscape that is so different to what we see now. So where is the foreshore? Where is the deep enough water to launch your vessels into? So it's all those kind of details that we wanted to pick up as part of this project.
Over the last 2 decades, archaeologists have been trying to establish the scale of the shipbuilding industry here. They know that Small Hythe wasn't always as cut off from the coast as it looks today. In 1332, the Nell Dam was built across the River Rother, which still flows through East Sussex and Kent. The dam was built primarily as a flood defence, but it changed the course of the river, creating a link between Small Hythe and Winchelsea Beach on the coast, 10 miles away. Small Hythe suddenly became the perfect place to build seagoing vessels in large mud docks dug into the earth on the banks of the river.
So I'm trying to peel back to where I think the real edge is.
Maritime archaeologist Elliot Ragg is trying to track down those elusive mud docks.
In the medieval period, right now, I'd be standing on the riverbank, running probably almost along the line of those people in red all the way along there and running over across to the east as well. This would have been a tidal environment, so if it was low tide, I might be dry. If it was high tide, I'd be wet. And we're now walking up onto the riverbank, and now we are into the shipbuilding dock proper here, behind the riverbank.
The excavation has revealed how the mud docks at Small Hythe were dug adjacent to the riverbank, below water level. Ships were built inside the dock, and when they were ready, the bank was removed, the dock flooded, and the ships could sail out into the river and all the way to the sea.
This is dug as a hole. It's not built, it's dug. And we've got a dark horizon here, lots of charcoal, and this seems to be a horizon before the dock was dug. And you can see here in the section, running up here, a series of upcast deposits. And this is the stuff they're digging out the dock, they're chucking it up on the side, just up here. So we've had a couple of good bits of pottery just out of here between this, which is before the dock was dug, and this, which is the spoil coming out of the dock excavation. So if we can date this by pottery, then that will tell us when they start digging the dock.
The pottery is crucial evidence for the archaeologists trying to understand the medieval origins of shipbuilding here at Small Hythe. But the size of the dock is also striking.
It's quite extraordinary, really, because it's not ship-shaped at all. The dock is 24 metres long and 22 metres wide, so what it looks like is that this dock has been dug for the construction of one ship.
History tells us that royal warships were built at Small Hythe, and it seems the archaeologists have now located the shipyard. And they're also finding plenty of iron nails and roves or rivets, which would have been used to hold the ship's timbers together.
What is it?
That's a rove.
They've found thousands of them all over the site. The excavations, together with surveys, are providing evidence for extensive shipbuilding here, with several separate mud docks. Even though there's a gale blowing outside the tent, I can't wait to get a closer look at what Elliot and Natalie have found and what it tells us about the abandoned shipyard that once built vessels for one of England's most famous warrior kings.
What we have here is a selection of roves, these diamond-shaped washers.
Yeah.
Medieval shipbuilding is clinker-built, it's shell-built, so it's overlapping planks.
Yeah.
You drive a big nail through it like this. This is a particularly huge
That's
example.
massive,
yeah,
yeah.
so this is from a big ship. You drive that through the two planks, you put one of them on the other side, and then you bend the nail back over, and that forces your
So it's
planks
like a
together.
rivet.
It's effectively a medieval rivet,
Yeah.
And so here we've got the whole range of roves. They're initially built in strips here, and you break them off. And just use them in strips.
You just have a strip of them. I just love all this evidence of shipbuilding. That's fantastic. I mean, it must have been busy.
Really busy.
Really busy.
I think you've got to imagine something like a sort of mad shanty town with sort of 200 or 300 people.
Yeah.
Basically living in shacks, kind of Wild West.
And what about this coin?
The top of the dock, running behind it, parallel to the shore, was a gravel road. The earliest documentation of it is 1474. And then the road itself seems to have fallen out of use and collapsed across the top of the dock. And this coin, which is, I think, dates to the 1580s, was in amongst that road collapse. So that gives us sort of a nice sort of end point for the shipbuilding.
So it's Elizabeth I, halfpenny, I think it is.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see a cross on that side.
There's a little crescent on it, which apparently helps to date the penny within Elizabeth's period, which is nice as well because we have a 1594 map of the area, which shows the east-west road. So it's quite a nice marrying up of documentary references, cartographic references, and a little bit of archaeology as well. Yeah, very satisfying.
A bit of absolute dating.
Yeah. Very nice. Yeah.
How many other mud docks have been archaeologically excavated in this way?
None.
So this
to my knowledge.
So this is a unique
I think
site.
so, yeah. Whereas if other places we know they're building medieval ships, London, Portsmouth, Southampton, whatever, they keep building ships there. Ships get bigger, the docks get bigger.
Yeah.
All the early evidence just gets wiped out.
It's another one of these stories where, you know, the demise of something ends up being an opportunity for the archaeologist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the biggest collection of roves
by far
anywhere.
Certainly in the UK, yeah.
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 Oh, there you go. The first archaeological evidence of a mud dock. Throughout history, the south coast of England has often acted as a front line of defence against would-be invaders. Our next dig takes us to Dover in Kent. The majestic white cliffs form a stunning backdrop to the Dover Strait, the narrowest part of the English Channel. And this place played an active role in Britain's defences during World War II. On a beautiful day like this, the coast of France is so clear, and there's a constant stream of ferries taking people on holiday. But of course, in the Second World War, it was a completely different story. That was German-occupied territory, and the entire coastline was bristling with firepower. German forces invaded France in May 1940, and the British mainland was then within their sights. The answer to that threat was to build new gun emplacements all along the White Cliffs of Dover, but they've been invisible in the landscape until now, when archaeologists are getting the chance to excavate and reveal them. In 2017, the National Trust acquired a huge stretch of land along the top of the cliffs, including some unique wartime defences. The guns from the emplacements were removed in the 1950s, and these sites were demolished and covered over. But now, for the first time, archaeologists have been given the chance to investigate these once classified military installations. John Barker from the National Trust is leading the investigation.
So, what are we looking at here then? Where are we?
So we're at a Fan Bay battery on the White Cliffs, and we've been carrying out an excavation on emplacement 3 over here.
So when you started work here, could you see any of this above ground?
You couldn't see anything. Our aim's to understand how much of the emplacement survives.
Yeah.
And how it works in conjunction with a structure called the plotting room, which is located further inland.
There were 38 artillery sites in and around Dover, but most were mobile. The only permanent sites were the defences on top of the cliffs. The stars of the show were two huge guns, known as Clem and Jane. With barrels weighing over 100 tons, they were the largest and longest range weapons ever installed on the UK mainland.
This is one of the first gun batteries that you see anywhere where it's not about defending the port, it's actually an offensive gun. It's for attacking shipping.
Yeah. Can we get down in there and have a look?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, yes, I can see paint on the wall here. There are numbers, which must be degrees.
That's right, compass bearings.
This is all very flaky and delicate, isn't it?
So it's been a bit of a race against time, actually, to record it properly before we lose some of it.
Gosh, it's been preserved all those years, but now because it's been uncovered, it's vulnerable, isn't it?
Precisely how the guns were operated from an underground bunker was top secret, and the records are patchy. But the archaeologists are hoping to find clues to fill in the gaps.
Can I open this door?
Go for it.
Although the emplacements were said to have been completely demolished, it turns out there's plenty to see below ground. Even including these tunnels and the magazine where the ammunition for the guns was stored.
Oh, how deep does this go?
So this is a 40-metre long tunnel with a spark-proof floor that leads to the magazines.
Oh, the temperature really drops, doesn't it, as you walk in here?
It's a constant 12 degrees down here.
Feels colder than that. 40 metres long, and presumably that is just to keep it away from the gun.
To protect from blast, that's right.
Yeah.
So this is the shell store, where the shells have actually been kept safe, dry and protected.
Well, you say dry, but it looks very damp in here. I mean, the ceiling is covered with drips.
It is now. Before the site was demolished and covered over, there would have been numerous ventilation shafts going up to the surface.
And that's these here, is there?
That's right.
Now home to a spider. There's lots of spiders down here.
The emplacement, its tunnels and magazines have lain here untouched for almost 80 years. But now we can begin to understand what it was like for the gun crew working here.
What are all these rectangular pieces of iron?
So these are ladder rungs, which are from the emergency shaft, and we actually found some original pieces of the winch within the material at the bottom of the shaft.
So this is how the shells are delivered down into the magazine?
That's right.
Yeah. How many people would have been working here on this gun emplacement?
Probably 7 to 10. You had 7 to a gun crew.
Yeah, I mean, presumably it was manned 24/7.
That's right, it had to be manned, 24 hours a day. The gun always had to be in a state of readiness to be fired if needed.
The gun crew was in charge of maintenance and loading shells when needed, but they weren't in control of aiming at targets. That was all done remotely from the plotting room in a bunker half a mile inland.
Which is down here, I presume. Okay.
It is, so we've got to go down this ladder.
All right, off to you.
Shall I go first?
Yeah.
The plotting room is part of a wider network of underground chambers and bomb-proof tunnels, all dug into the chalk cliffs.
Oh, this is brilliant. So this is it, this is the nerve centre. Unauthorised persons are forbidden to interfere with equipment. So there was something right there.
And this is where the Admiralty fire control table was actually located.
So that was where they're actually controlling the guns from?
That's right. So it was unique, originally designed to work on battleships.
Yeah.
But this one had been retrofitted to work on land. Everything is hardwired to here.
Yeah,
And you've got a whole host of different services that are coming into this plotting room as well. You've got range finding location, battery observation posts, spotter planes, and most importantly, radar. And so that's all coming here to be considered before that information is sent out to the guns.
Yeah. Well, this is incredible, isn't it?
The technology here remained classified for many years after the war. With so few records, every archaeological find is precious.
We have done a fingertip search. These are some of the artefacts that we've discovered in the early 1950s when the site was decommissioned. Actually, the technology was still confidential then, so all of the equipment was smashed into small pieces down here.
It certainly looks as though it has been smashed up, doesn't it?
I've spotted somewhere else I'd like to explore.
So what's through here?
There's this intriguing little feature here, the service tunnel that runs around the whole structure.
Okay.
It's for drainage and it's for power and services and communication. It's also got some really interesting graffiti, but it is an adventure.
Oh, okay. How deep is the graffiti in there?
It's quite a long way.
Okay. All right, I'm game. Thank you.
The service tunnel is far too narrow for the camera crew, so I've had to film by myself.
The ceiling just got a bit lower.
But the tunnel hides a very special connection to the people who worked here during the war.
What have we got along here? Oh, wow. Okay.
So it says Heroes of Fan Hole, W. Dodd or Dodds,
Yeah.
and Petted.
Oh, yeah. Do you think that does go back to the war?
Almost certainly. The reference to Fan Hole is interesting because it was only called Fan Hole up until about 1942. After that, it became known as Fan Bay Battery, so it's an early bit.
Look at that, the Heroes of Fan Hole. It's quite a long way back.
It is.
It's not often on Digging for Britain that I get to be the one making the discoveries. But on the way back, I spot something that the archaeologists have missed.
Oh my goodness, I think I've got Henry Ford, 1941 here.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one before.
Is that when it was built?
So the plotting room was finished in the April of 41.
So that could have been somebody that was actually building it. That's incredible. Right, time to go out.
Among the paraphernalia of war, shrouded in secrecy, it's an astonishing link to an individual.
I found a new bit of graffiti down there, going all the way back to 1941. And we're not out yet.
No, we've still got a
We're
bit
still
further
underground.
There's so much more here than the archaeologists had hoped for. Most of the underground architecture of these defences has survived. And we can also make that connection to the fanhole heroes whose names are missing from the records, but who played such a vital part in Britain's World War II defences. Back out into the 21st century.